Good morning. Let's begin the DuBois County Commissioners meeting for October 2nd, 2023. There's a quorum present. And we'll begin the meeting with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have the September 18th minutes. Does anyone have any changes to that?
No.
I'll move that we approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We have the payroll from the previous period. Anybody have any comments or questions on that?
No.
No.
I'll move that we approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We have the claims from the previous period in the voucher register. I'll move that we approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I don't believe we had a treasurer's report this time, but we did have the clerk's report. Anyone have
I
any,
have two different ones for the clerk.
comments or questions on that? Don't believe I did either. Well, I did ask her about some of these. There's a whole list of outstanding checks. I wasn't sure why we had checks going to certain people, so I asked that. Like, there's one on here for rallies, and community corrections has a bunch of them, so I don't know why those checks hadn't been cashed. Community corrections has checks outstanding from February. I would understand people like to pay fines or pay late things, and I guess that would mean we send a check to community corrections after that, but I don't know why they wouldn't cash them. Do you have any idea on that?
Can't answer
Okay. So there's one lady in here that gets $8.58 every couple of weeks, and she never cashes her check. So that's another one I didn't understand. I'm sure they're taking care of. You have these back, Cindy? Would let the record reflect that we've reviewed the clerk's reports and that we don't have any treasurer reports for this time. Highway report, Steve Miller.
Right, I just need a signature.
Okay. White Stallion status, the meeting happened a few weeks ago, where reclamation discussions were taking place. Spoke with a representative of DNR, and he said that they listed items of concern that would be completed during the reclamation process, one of which did include Porterville West as a high priority for them as well. So all I can say is that talks are still in process, and we'll just see where it goes.
So who did DNR meet with? Like the insurance company, the bond people, or who did they meet with?
Michael Costello, that outfit.
And for the rep, for my memory, he's representing the bond company, right? The bond insurance.
Yeah, there was talk about depending on where they're going, if there's any conflict with some of the stuff that they're wanting to, that DNR's needing to have done, I believe They were talking about possibly, revoking the license and then reissuing it, but it's just, it's legal stuff, so I'm all about
Do you have any idea why they would want us involved in those meetings?
it. I don't know that there's anything we can do really. Was hoping that, someone with the, Historical Society would probably get involved, because of the church and the cemetery, so. Still don't know.
Mr. Sheriff, have you had any contact with anybody on the issue?
I have not, no.
What were you gonna say, something?
Michael Costello met with the DNR then?
They had a teleconference. Yeah.
Anything on that?
I mean, don't you think it's a good idea that one of us would be involved in some of those meetings? I mean, is there a way that we can talk to Costello or someone?
Yeah, I can get with him this week, but, I don't know if it's, as far as how much involved the bankruptcy is with the whole thing, I really don't know, because it seems to me that, there is a fund under abandoned mine with the state of Indiana, that the funds are there to make this happen. We also have funding through our bonds that we're holding to make sure that the roads get put back the way we needed to. So I think it's just a matter of coming to an agreement as to what needs to be taken care of and move on with it. But I'm not there in those talks. I don't know.
Right, I just kind of feel like we're in the dark a little bit.
Yeah.
It's,
To your point, somebody needs to represent our interests, because right now,
we're just kind of in the dark. I mean, we don't,
Yeah.
just, they'll call you and say, well, this is an update. I mean,
And it's really nothing different than.
exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, it just, if somebody is a little bit, one of us is more involved, maybe it might push it along a little faster or something. I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing suggestions out there to try to, this has been going on for so long.
Yeah.
that-
Yeah,
I know, you're doing all you can. I understand.
Yeah,
I do. I would just,
And I don't know how the bankruptcy, may play a difference.
Like the last conversation we had with them was again, end of last year, beginning part of this year, and we were left them kind of with the impression that we would be moving on this by spring of 23. Might be worthwhile to at least have a follow-up call with them to make sure the actions we're taking aren't impacted by what may or may not be going on over there. If you'd like to do that, Steve, I can shoot an email out.
Yeah,
Try to get that scheduled.
May not be a bad idea because, I figured in contacting the DNR, that's a regulatory outfit that, can
sure.
push things along, but it just doesn't seem to be happening. So I don't know if I'm not getting hold of the right people or what.
And we don't know.
I just don't know. Yeah. So, we can try that, Greg.
Okay.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Maybe a step closer. We'll see.
Yeah, 'cause I know the landowners are itching to get this thing put behind them too, so.
Yeah. Constantly approached by the landowners out there. Just, I'm sure you are too.
Yeah.
Phone calls and everything. I mean,
It's just, it's a shame.
yeah, it is. It really is.
and if we're not at the table during negotiations, they're just gonna say, this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be
Yeah,
what's.
it's not that we're gonna have control or anything, but I just feel like, just like I said, we're in the dark here.
Yeah.
I just, in the meantime, things just keep falling apart out there.
Yeah, it was my goal once everything got set in place, and from what I understand, I guess once DNR and the reclamation people, the people in charge, come to an agreement, then I believe contracts are signed where now work can take
Start,
place.
yeah.
And I was hoping sometime at that point, maybe we could sit down with the impacted landowners. We
Yes.
just, have a meeting, where are we at, what to
And
expect.
they're in the dark,
Yeah,
you
so.
know, and they have a right to know.
Mhm.
They really do. You know, in the meantime, you've got Portersville Road that's falling in and.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just.
I don't know.
Kind of a helpless.
Yeah, it
state
is.
of affairs.
Feel helpless, very much so, yeah.
Um,
You're gonna reach out.
transfer of appropriations, or bankruptcy attorney. We're running a little bit short on, road paint for this season. I think we're needing, several barrels of white paint to finish up, painting St. Henry Road when that gets blacktopped. So what I'd like to do is, transfer $2,500 from our MVH Geotextile Fund and move it over to our paint line item.
Anyone have an issue with that?
I don't know.
Not much to do, just a transfer. I move that we support moving the $2,500 from highway restricted geotextile to the paint fund.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And final item, we have a site attendant that's retiring. Jim Leishner was hired in November of 2020 and has been our attendant at the Hayesville site. Jim's decided to retire. He's done a nice job for us at the site and he will be missed. So we plan to interview for a replacement floater for him tomorrow morning. We've got a couple of them coming in, so get somebody in place there, so keep her going.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Anybody have anything else for Mr. Bird?
Nope.
No.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Short and sweet for me too. Okay, Safe Streets for All action plan. Waiting for the council meeting, we get the money appropriated for our match, we get the contract signed and move along. Federal Highway knows our status, they're not too concerned about it, once we're moving forward. Had a meeting with them last week or the week before, so nothing new there. Paving projects, just an update, there's really nothing since the last meeting. We're just waiting on 1100 South to get completed. They're hoping it'll be next week, Monday, so we'll get started on that, and that will take them a full week to get done. That's a long road, a lot of mix going down. That's the goal. That was the last update I had from them. Okay, so then change orders for paving projects. I've got two of them for you guys. The first one is 3rd Avenue from 162 to Jasper City Limits. That was part of Jasper's big paving project they had on the hooks, or not the hooks, to Sicko. So we were a part of that too. They gave us a quote based on the Jasper's prices. There was a huge decrease in that of $38,428.56. The reason for that is the loops that control the traffic signals. We wanted to stay away from. Originally, we were talking about getting them, we'll pay over the top of them and recutting the ones in. It wasn't worth the price. The asphalt's in pretty good shape. It would delay the project, so we just cut it back. NDOT, when they pay 162, that's their responsibility to cover those up anyways, so they'll pay over the top of it. Not a big deal. So that's the reason for that change order. The other one is for Celestine Road South from St. Mary's to New Orleans. That is a whopping increase of $1.50. So we have to do that because of State Board of Accounts. We have to make sure we cover it. Dot our I's, cross our T's. So I do recommend both of them for approval. If they are approved, I need signatures from you guys.
Anybody want to take these matters up individually, or can we do them jointly? Okay, I'll move that we approve the decrease of $38,428.56 on the Third Avenue project. And on project 23-04, we approve the increase of $1.50.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
I will leave 4 signatures, 2 on each one.
Okay, so
I'll get a shovel full of eggs.
Yeah, it wasn't much. So, while you guys are signing those, anybody got anything for me?
you have any updates? I talked to some Jasper folks last week on the extension of 15th Street and the bridge sizing and things there. Has there been some changes with that? Or anything you talked about, or not ready for that yet?
Well, it's not that I'm not ready, so what happened is, federal government changed their rules on, so that is a floodplain, we're obviously crossing, creating a bridge, crossing a floodplain. There used to be a restriction, you can hold so much water back, really only about 2 inches, but it's enough water up that valley, it shrinks the size of your bridge. Well, now you cannot hold any water back. So part of the deal with the designer is they're going to have to show what the actual floodplain level is and readjust the map. It's gonna be a 12-month, 18-month extension on the project. From our aspect,
What do you mean by holding water back? Like by putting a lift in the road?
But the beams will obviously not let any water by. Whenever the water comes up, it will not go, so you have to raise the bridge up. When you raise the bridge up, you're sending it out. That's gonna cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
If they do some math, do some calculations, readjust the map itself, they can probably lower the bridge down, shrink it up a little bit, and readjust the map. Because when they do the map, it's based off LiDAR data, and they can, that somebody sitting in Indianapolis or in Washington D.C. makes these maps. They're not actually on the ground doing this. Well, a consultant can come in and do a physical survey, lay this thing out, and shrink it down, and they usually drop everything down. So it's just a matter of somebody getting out there, boozing it around, and doing a survey. So it's a 12-month process because federal government has to review it. Actually, not federal government. It is it's FEMA has to actually review it. So that's where it takes some time. So just a delay, but it is what it is. And from our aspect as a county, we want a bridge, but we're not going to push it for this project. So it's the city of Jasper that they're controlling it. They're driving this bus.
It'll take as long as it takes, I guess, right? So you've determined it's cheaper to pay an engineer to do all this work and to submit everything than it is to just make the bridge.
It will be much cheaper. It will be much cheaper.
This reminds me of the bridge on the north part of town where we should make some changes to let the deer run underneath it.
Yep.
Or squirrels or whatever, the animal situation.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you for that update. I don't have anything else.
Thank you very much.
I think I do have one more thing. I don't know if the highway department, Steve, if you'll know anything about this. This is the first for me. I got a piece of mail from the Hayesville Streetlight Committee. So there's I know in like the city of Jasper, the street department take care of streetlights, right? And there's no street department up there, so are those privately, whatever street lights are in Hayesville, those are privately put in and privately funded to maintain? Do you guys know anything about that?
Is the Rurtan doing anything with that? Because a lot of times, there would be a club of some kind that would,
Well, this letter, I looked up the address, it's Mr. Pastor Kramer, not the Lutheran Church, not the one at the Y, the one on the other. East 56. So I guess when I looked at it, I don't mind chipping in if that's what people do, but this is the first time I've ever heard of it. And I didn't know if this is something the county, if there's a need for streetlights in any communities, do we ever provide those? Or do we do that anywhere?
no.
We don't pay for a streetlight anywhere in the whole county. Is that something we've ever considered, or is it a safety, a street safety thing for our unincorporated towns, or not really?
Really, I think, a lot of times in unincorporated towns, people might have their own dusted dawn light or something on an REC pole, but, as far as in town,
I guess I never even considered street light, I don't know where they are, or who, I just assume they are REC things too, like you said.
Yeah.
Because you can pay a monthly fee and have a pole and a light on your property from REC, but I guess this committee must pay the electric bill and some street lights and, I don't know. Just for converter. I don't mind chipping in if it's, I mean, I don't even live in Hayesville, I don't even live close to Hayesville really, but.
yeah, well, then who pays? Who pays
Another
the
quote.
lights?
Yes.
Okay. I assume the light committee, street light committee would.
Do they
Okay.
list a path as to where they want it? List a path there, like at the main intersection of 231?
It just says they suggest that I send in $35 and that it costs $3,500, $3,000 a year to keep these things running, and thank you, street committee. And I've lived in my home for, 11 years, so it's not like, I live on 400 North, I don't live in Hayesville, or 500.
Is this addressed to you or the commissioner?
To me,
I can contact Marvin.
I just thought it was interesting. I mean, again, if it's the community coming together to do something, I don't mind helping them, I guess, but.
A lot of times, like, I think the sidewalks in Ireland was done by,
Yeah.
a committee of some sort, but usually like a Lions Club or something like that would sponsor an improvement like this, so.
Have you guys even ever considered that for any of our, like, Du Bois have streetlights?
Two Woods has got, they may have streetlights, but we don't bring with them.
Yeah.
That's what it pays for all that stuff.
I haven't looked at their lighting situation.
Okay. Well, we don't need to spend too much time on it. I just thought it was interesting. You may be interested in
It
it.
might be a private or somebody.
So it looks like we got this notice of public hearing, we're putting up a new hotel sign
Mm-hmm.
down by the jail.
Right.
You might care about that. I mean, yeah. I think the other stuff is farm stuff that I'm generally okay with, as long as it's sanitary sewer. Yes, sir. What do you
I
think?
could address, well, because Region 15 is coming in.
Sure.
They'd like to have that in place maybe.
Okay, so there's an ordinance here, ordinance number 2023-14, amending our fair housing ordinance that we, the commissioners put in place in 1994. And what I believe, and Mr. Sheriff, correct me if I'm wrong, this will be just a modification from the original, and all it does is adds a definition to what, to what a family is, and those that would be appropriate, or, how they define that has changed from 1994 through to 2023. So we're adding that we're going to match our language to what the.
Correct, we're adding a provision which was not included in our original, I believe, and then simply adding, renumbering everything else thereafter. And the reason for the renumbering is so that when we send it to American Legal, that they bump everything down accordingly.
Anybody have any issues with this?
No, I've read it.
Okay. I'll move that we approve ordinance number 2023-14.
Second.
Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
they have here, this was mine.
Oh, okay, sorry. This will come up later. Well, then I'll just have them sign it also. They don't have my, they don't have my copies. Sign this one too, please.
And you sent it to me by words.
This is just a second copy of the same thing.
That's the right, yes, Bill. Okay.
See, on this, I don't know what to say necessarily, other than we look into it. This is the.
He's getting to you just in case. He's not got enough time. He needs time off. But you're gonna have to do it with absence or you're not gonna have a job.
So,
So all that.
Yeah, you're gonna, as an advisor, he's still under probationary period for his work here with them. He's gonna be under probationary period even if he was in a different form, but anyway, that's fine. He gets engaged in the pool, he couldn't, right, he'd be a member of that pool.
That's whole gone.
But there's none, I know there's people that had
You got rid of that.
input, people that are really bad.
People got some days back and it's gone.
Okay. I didn't see that in the book
Yeah, it's
anywhere.
gone.
Okay.
Great.
He had that because he has a marking on it.
Hang on, not eligible for a leave of absence, it says, okay,
Well,
sounds right underneath it, it says we make credit.
Yeah, we
Right,
gotta,
that's what I'm saying.
they're presenting it.
So under what?
That's at 10:15.
Okay.
since I was coming up, I was trying to take my steps later.
You just saw something.
Should you highlight that part where it's in there?
I can't answer that.
Well, it's during the paper.
He did the last time, he had so many days left.
I wouldn't. have
But I kind of just want you to be aware that it's coming. It's gonna be an issue on the next payroll probably.
From the time he started till now, he's been turning it on every time. of some
As far as
sort.
I know.
I was thinking he worked just a
No,
little
it's
bit.
coming.
They're not quitting. They're not turning it.
This last week, he was on Fridays. And he had 8 hours until, see, last week was on different pay. So this Friday, whatever they come in, he's gonna have days without pay.
And those aren't allowed either.
Well, that's why I brought it up to him.
But it's a sensitive thing that we can't really talk about here because it's a medical issue.
Unless he comes in as a leave of absence.
Got it. Okay, thank you. So Jenny isn't here, doesn't look like, for our 8:30. Commissioner, is there anything that,
Well, I thought she wanted on the agenda last time she was here.
I think there was a resolution that she had prepared for the last time. She had asked to be on the agenda for this one.
Cause I did that one in the last meeting.
The,
Do you need this or you want me to keep it?
that's yours. See if we have a number for her.
I think that stemmed from the last meeting.
I know there was a resolution that she had prepared that was going to be addressed at a subsequent meeting, and I believe that was now.
Yeah, is that her?
that's her? Welcome, we were gonna call you. Glad you're here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a copy too.
We're just not.
Awesome, thank you.
That's your resolution.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. That language just needs to be included on HUD projects. It does not have to be included on every project you have now, but it is a HUD required language. The other thing I have for you this morning,
Will you say who you are for the record?
oh, sorry, Jenny Montes, Indiana 15, Regional Planning Commission. I have a resolution that you have reviewed.
Yes.
Resolution for match, and time to submit your application.
Okay. I'll summarize it as I read it. Authorizing the submittal of the CDBG Help Grant application to the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs and addressing related matters. So we were part of, tell me if I'm wrong, we were part of the HELP program. Now that we've successfully completed it, we are eligible for a $1 million match that will go to the projects we talked about last time, the housing,
And try that.
housing rehabilitation and TRICAP programs that we heard about the last week. And
You have held the required 2 public hearings. Commissioners held 1 last time I was here, and then the council held 1 this evening. Now, there is 1 more set of paperwork. I don't know if you want to make a motion to allow him to sign it later once the application's ready and you've actually looked at it. There is a signature required by you, by Sandy, by you, and myself.
Okay.
So if you want,
We'd have
sometimes they
to-
make a motion to,
We would do that to give
allow him to
authorization
sign.
for those individuals to sign on behalf of the county.
so the other thing that's important on here that if I was you reading it, they would maybe give me concern. It says the DuBois County Commissioners commit the requisite local funds derived from the American Rescue Plan as matching funds. So we've already done that. There's 2 other components of the HELP program. Jasper is using their match to fund the wellness center, and we're using our funds for the sewer project. So that's where our match is going. It's not an additional amount of funds.
it's not an issue, you've already committed the funds, and I think your only other part was to employ Ryland through your strategic investment. I think
That's complete.
that's all complete and you're done with that, so.
So did you say we have to have a motion to allow me to sign the application?
When that comes in.
When it's time to submit the application.
This was, and I probably neglected, but this is a resolution, correct?
Yes, sir.
It would be resolution 2023-15.
-15.
Based on my number.
Yeah, I will send you
In Word preferably,
in Word,
so I can put it in the minutes.
not a problem.
So we'll just write that at the top of it.
Yeah, I will send both applications over to you just to look over before they're submitted.
I'll move that we consent for the Board of Commissioners President to sign both the resolution on behalf of the board as well as any subsequent applications as they're available on behalf of the board.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, anyone opposed? Motion carries. That being said, now we have
That
offers.
was so you could sign the application.
So I can sign this and the application on behalf of the board. And then we will formalize this by saying, I guess I have permission to sign it on our behalf, so I guess we don't need to move on it, because I'm signing it on our behalf, so there it is. Or do you want me to put this?
No, I will, we'd take a
Let's vote on that one,
motion, a
too.
motion to approve resolution 2023-15.
Okay, I'll make that motion to approve resolution 2023-15.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Nope.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Anything else, Jenny?
That's it this morning. It's pretty quick and easy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for getting that.
Got it. Okay, a couple miscellaneous items, let's go through those. Here's a second copy of the water. I have another copy of the-
Where did this come from?
No, I wanted to put that to you guys. We're talking about that later at 10:15.
Oh, okay. So we've got a signed copy if we approve it.
If that's the route you
I
decide to
apologize,
go.
I was thinking this was something that,
My apologies as well.
yeah, we got it.
I explained that, I think, down the dates, but not to you.
Okay, next up, the clerk has sent an email requesting to have a Facebook page approved for their office. My first thought was, I didn't want every office staff to have their own Facebook page. The idea was that they wanted the county, everybody put their information through it, and I thought, our office thinks they need one. What's the harm, I suppose? Because we can always on our page share what they have.
That's fine. It's okay.
Be great.
Yeah, she
I guess
she'll
that's not
do
an
the
issue.
original one more than we
We have
were.
a big project.
And
So,
excuse
you
me,
guys okay with having one?
No.
Okay. Okay,
You
so
get 2 different motions.
I'll wait until,
Providing what she's gonna be doing with it and different things like that, she explained all that, so I thought it was a good idea.
Okay. Because I didn't catch 2 of them.
same as you tell me when you're available.
Okay, sorry, what?
That's okay.
Facebook
So
page?
the clerk's requested a Facebook page. I'll move that we approve the clerk's office have their own Facebook page. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. And she did outline in an email to us how all that will go down, so that seemed all appropriate and per our usual policy.
Is it gonna go under the county one or?
She'll have her own, just like the prosecutor and the sheriff's department, health department.
You have access to all that?
Okay, so an issue that came up was a county computer discussion. That's under discussion items at the end of the agenda here. So one of the office heads asked about one of their excess computers. So I sent you the emails about that. Generally, this employee's computer was replaced. So usually those computers then go over to the auditor's office, they get wiped, and we recycle them or dispose of them. In this case, they said that the computer is still a working unit. The employee would like to have it to take home and do both county work and personal work on it. So I believe, if I understand this right, there's an Office 365 account for every person. Like I have one because I have a county computer. Sandy has one for her. So as an employee, she has one, and then you can use it across multiple.
Anybody with a DuBoisCountyIN.org email address can access up to 5 different, like I can have it on my desk, I can have it on here, I can put it on my phone, I can access it on 5 different devices. If
So
we take that away, they will no longer have Word or Excel or anything like that, because that will be gone from them. However, the machine has a Windows license on it, which is still licensed to the county.
Right.
That's your Windows operating system. So if we wipe it completely off, they have nothing. So they have to get their own license and put their own operating system on there.
So I don't understand how an operating system works. To me, whenever, at least for personal use, you buy a computer that has an operating system on it, you own that for eternity until the computer dies.
Because you own the license for that machine.
But like this, we bought the machine, so it doesn't, I mean, it's not like we're paying for that license.
Well, it's
For
included in
two.
the price of your machine is your operating system.
Right, so it's not gonna cost for us, for him to take that home, or for us to not let him take it home. It doesn't cost us anything one way or one way or
It's
another.
just licensed to the county.
It's up to the county to decide if we want him to have that operating system, if we want him to be able to use the unit, or if we want to say we're gonna do what we've done historically and not let people do that. I think the only exceptions we've made to anything like this historically have been, we may have let 1 or 2 people keep their phone. Have we even done that? I seem to think we've let at least one person keep their
Phones are
physical
different,
phone.
that doesn't have a same, it's not a license.
I'm looking at it just as a county electronic item. Piece of technology, piece of county property. So part of me thinks I don't want to get this started. I don't want to, because then let's say I've got this unit and I know that the county will let me buy it for a given price. And maybe it's like this one, it's still working, so it doesn't work as well as it used to, but maybe I'll say, I'll let the county just buy me another one. And maybe they'll just let me buy that one and take home. So I may get a computer a couple years earlier just because I can maybe take this one home with me. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I don't wanna give people an incentive to replace their system before they need to.
Or you might buy more computer than you need, because
I may get it.
I'd really like to have this upgrade operating system or whatever it may be.
In a perfect world, I would say, yeah, it's a good person, people wouldn't do things for their own self-interest, it was out for the county. But I'm not sure that that's gonna be the case with every person.
This person work from home quite a bit,
We
or
don't
not?
really have people that work from home.
Just had to clarify that, so.
I would say some of our employees probably are checking emails and are doing some work, and this is
But
it.
not set hours.
Not set hours of work from home.
Right.
No.
So I'm kind of,
I could use myself as an example. I take this home and work,
Sure.
but it's not mine, it's county.
so I can see both sides of it. I think it's, in a perfect world, it's a fine idea. The county, let's say they gave us $1 for the thing, we'd be up $1 because otherwise it just gets recycled. We get nothing for it, or it's an expense to recycle it. On the other hand, I don't know if I want to start having people coming to ask us for their equipment. So, I don't know. Commissioner Hostetter, thoughts?
I would say no. I'd like to stick with the way we do it now. We'll issue them out, we'll collect them all back and not sell them to individuals.
What about if we, like those 2 units there, those are white. We're
They're
gonna,
completely blank.
there's nothing on them. Would,
If they are completely blank and we want to make them available, but I don't think we should necessarily make them available to the person who had that computer.
you think it's probably a better idea, just, it's cleaner, just to
Yeah.
keep, rotate them through.
Mm.
What were your thoughts?
I just don't, I don't know. In the back of my mind, I just don't feel safe that an employee would take that. I think you just need to follow the protocol that you have before, just, you know. I don't know, there's just something in the back of my
Plan
mind.
on, not everybody
little
is issued a
uneasy.
computer, so therefore it's, kind of a perk to somebody that has a computer issue, that may not be available to somebody who doesn't.
And how do we determine a value? And if we do determine a value, do we say, we're putting it for bid?
Yeah.
And then we gotta deal with that. So, like if this person said, I'll give you $10 for it. And somebody else says, I'll give you, I would have given you, Brent says, I would have given you 20. And Steve says, oh, that's worth $200 to me. It's just maybe something we don't wanna get in the middle of.
Right. That's kind of where I'm
I
at.
mean, this is what you've done in the past to keep it the same.
But there's still that part in the back that's like,
I know.
oh, it's a workable piece of
I
equipment.
know.
Why
I know
decondition it when it
that.
still works?
I know, I understand.
But then part of me says, dude, it still works, why don't you do it?
Just like I said, in the back of my mind, it's,
Okay, so it sounds like the consensus, we don't need to probably make any motion or do anything because we're just gonna follow the same path.
Your standard policy.
There's not gonna be any change, so I will let that department know where we stand. Thank you for the discussion. Mr. Madden, I see you've arrived, if you want to come up. Morning.
Morning, how are you guys?
good morning.
Fine.
I'm here today to propose a part-time pretrial services officer that would begin in 2024. This position would be paid out of the IOX grant. We were awarded an additional $100,000. So it would not come out of project income in 2024. I believe the pay for that position next year would be about $22.66 an hour, with about 40 hours per pay period.
Pat 3.
So I believe the way this would normally work is the commissioners would approve the position and the category, and the council would have to approve the funding. Does that sound accurate? So I've had a discussion with Mr. Madden about the position, and after a bit of back and forth discussion with him, this was the route that I was comfortable with, so I don't know that I really have any questions or comments for him on this. Good. I think I would be okay with letting it go this way. So this extra money that came in, not only will it fund this position, it will also help fund the department as a whole. So there's a multiple benefit to having this. So this is a good move, in my opinion. Commissioner Hunter, do you have any questions or comments on the position?
Typically have no problem with positions that are funded by grants.
Great. Well, the thing that I think we had initially was, yes, the position would have been funded, but there may have been costs that would have to be pulled out of another line item to pay for benefits or to pay for something else. So that's where we kind of negotiated that this is the way that it is actually 100% funded by the grant, and it maybe benefits the pretrial service department as a whole, and maybe the project is.
Still reading through the description, but yeah, I don't feel like I have any problem with it.
It's a part-time position?
Yes.
Okay.
So the reason for the part-time position is we have three pretrial staff. Christina, Danielle, and Kim, they've racked up quite a bit of comp time this year. And doing so, they've been using their comp time and rarely using their PTO. So right now, Christina has used 0 hours out of her 133 hours of PTO because they accrue so much comp time.
Sure.
Would you have this start January 1?
Yeah, as soon as the,
And was the $100,000 grant, is it in your budget already?
Mhm.
They've already approved accepting it, it's part of your expense. Okay.
How many hours would this work?
20 hours a week, 40 per pay period.
so I have budgeted 26,000, but with FICA added to that 40 hours, it'd be like 25 and some change,
So it'd be 25 hours a week then?
25,000 total.
Okay, as we do normally, I'll move that we approve the creation of this position, dependent on the continued grant funding to support
Second.
it. And I want to amend this to say that it is a PAT 3. You still second? Okay, any other discussion?
No.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Anything else, Mr. Madden?
That's it. Thank
Do
you.
you want to give the board, since you went so quickly, got any comments on your facility? Anything on the status of community corrections?
I mean, we're back in our renovated facility now. If you guys want to come out for
Love to.
a tour,
Sure.
just let me know. There's some kinks which we're still trying to work out, but other than that, the building's in great shape. We're enjoying it.
How's that? How's that?
In the offices, are they working size-wise for the employees? Furniture's working okay?
Mhm.
Toilets are flush, the water's running?
Everything's working.
I mean, the things that we're having a problem with, or there's a few minor, they're not minor, they're minor in the scheme of the project. Some lock systems that are being worked on,
Mhm.
some doorways, but they're becoming less and less as each one gets caught and remedied.
Yep.
I don't know if there's anything else.
Thank
All right,
you.
Thank
You guys
you.
have a good day.
Thanks.
Thanks, sir. Okay, the next thing I had under miscellaneous items is Operation Greenlight. Did you put that on the agenda?
I did because we have information on the next.
Okay, so this is something we did last year, and it seemed to me that the National Association of Counties really pushed for this last year, but I hadn't heard anything about it for this year.
Last week at AIC, they talked about it.
Okay, so basically, Operation Greenlight is a way to show support for veterans by lighting our buildings green from November 6th through November 12th. And so by shining a green light, county governments and our residents will let veterans know that they are seen, appreciated, and heard. I think this has something, if I remember correctly, it's one, a way to honor and thank them for their service. Another is to always remember that there's a suicide issue with returning veterans, that there's a high number of those, keep an eye on that. And also, if you have green lights, shining on the courthouse or on various places, people say, well, why is that? And it starts a conversation. So what my hope is that we shine a green light on the courthouse, people ask us what that's about, and we can at a minimum say, did you know we had a veteran service office that can help people get the earned benefits that they have for their military service? So I think that's that. So I would move that we participate again in Operation Green Light.
Second.
Anybody have any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. And I think what that means from our perspective last year, I put something in the paper, I think I wrote something up and did that, and we bought some green lights that we shine with the.
Still have, so.
Right.
Pretty neat idea.
Yeah.
On the city turns the lights, green boosters.
9745.
7045.
Thank you. Okay, we still have 7 minutes until the trash board, so, with some surplus items, is there a list?
Usually I have a list here. Here, oh, it's 3 vacuum cleaners. It's got 3 vacuum cleaners. 2 of them have bad motors and 1 is broken.
That's Carla for the 9 o'clock.
I didn't see it.
Okay, so the-
Okay,
Custodian has 3 vacuums,
Not quite yet.
sweepers,
and then.
2 with broken
I need
motors
to-
and-
Okay,
2 bad motors, and 1 that's just broken. Anybody care that we,
thinks
include
they've been
this?
here since the days before he started.
I have no issue with getting rid of those.
Probably just been sitting around not being used, yeah, so.
Please start.
Okay, so I'll move that we approve the, disposal of the 3 non-working vacuums.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Another quick miscellaneous item, so I met with another solar company recently. This one is called Hoosier Solar. They're gonna have a smaller project, is what they're planning to do, than some of the other ones. This one would be under 100 acres. It'll be in the industrial area of Huntingburg. Are you aware of where the current one is? The next to the, when you do that kind of bypass around? So if you went past that one and kept going down past the sanitation site,
Okay.
you know, it comes to a stop sign, we've got our sanitation recycling site there. We'd be a little bit further down that little road in that area. So there's not, it's in the city of Huntingburg's 2-mile jurisdiction, but it would potentially be on Parkland County Road. Is that correct, Brett?
That's correct. Park potential is the key word there. They make them all, say, they can make them all 400 and not even access our county roads.
What is their name? Sure what?
Hoosier Solar. So anyway, I met with them. I told them the same thing I tell all of them. If you don't ask us for anything, we won't have much to say about it. If you need to use our roads or any of other assets, we'll have road use agreements and bonding requirements, things like that.
Springs, that's the one we met with.
Mhm.
Rings a bell now. Okay.
So that is, to me, the 3rd solar project in the county that seems to have legs and that they've actually done some good work. I've been contacted by a few other ones over time, but these are there's 3 main ones that have been working. One across from the airport, the Duff project, and then this one. There's a lot of people wanting to do that work in West County. Sheriff, we have about 4 minutes until our next item. Are you here would you like to address the board about something? Or are you here for-
I'm on at 9:45.
Oh, okay, you're here for that.
Yeah, we had a meeting downstairs and I just, we were done with that, so we came out.
Okay, I thought maybe you had something you wanted to share real quick.
No, I'm good.
I know you're a fan of county government in action, so that's probably why you were here.
Right.
I have 2 items if you want.
Yes, let's hear
All right, one would be I sent the quote for the update to our Dubois County Code online as well as in paper. I just needed approval of that quote and I can let them know, and I'll add this ordinance and resolution we passed, or the ordinance we passed today, to that supplement as well.
So the price will change a little bit?
No, it shouldn't. I don't think those 2 pages, the insertion of it, I would hope it would not.
Can you tell us so what we're gonna get is 5 updates, is that what you came up with?
Correct. We had 13 or 15 before. I asked to pare that down because we weren't utilizing all the hard copies that we once had.
What do you mean to those code books? So that we only have 5 updated copies?
Yeah,
We get one to the sheriff's department, one for us, one for the auditor. I don't know.
I think we had like 15 of them.
So anyway, I don't find that it's worth the money it costs to have them all updated when all the information's online.
Correct. And I direct most people to the online version anyways. I always thought I didn't mind having a hard copy myself if I determined later on that my single hard copy is what's costing $800, then I too will pivot away from that. So it's a range of 880 to 1540 for that supplement, which is comparable to what our last supplement was. We're doing these roughly every 18 months. It seems like 12 to 18 months. So I said I needed to get authority to spend the county's money. That's what I'm seeking.
So the maximum it'll cost $1,500 for the.
It says 1540.
1540.
Okay. I'll move that we approve Mr. Schneider moving forward with the supplement for the update.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The other thing I had, got a minute here, we update our redaction services and support agreement, with the recorder's office, this is with CSI. I've reviewed this, Jackie's reviewed it, but it doesn't need board approval and signature. So looking to do that for, I think the last time we did it was 2019.
You said this is the service of the recorder uses or the clerk?
The recorder's office.
Recorder. You wanna review it?
Like I said, the last one came out in 2019. I think it was 4 years, so we're set to redo it. There were some changes. I've reviewed those and some new standard language.
I'll move that we approve the redaction services agreement for the recorder's office.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. 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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We're gonna call this meeting of the commissioners in recess, and we will open the DuBois County Trash Court. Mr. Schneider, do you have anything to start us off with on that? Or
I do. Mr. Boehm is here in person, and the director is on the phone, currently speakerphone at the dais. It appears as though some improvements have been made following our letter conversations and seeking quotes. Mr. Boehm did send some photographs out this morning, and I don't know if the board's had a chance to look at those yet. I do have them pulled up on my computer, and I can bring that up to you guys here.
I have them pulled up too.
So we should not be able to see all the way over there. So it would appear from the photograph, but I can let the people there in person speak to that there's been improvements. Just there with that. So I guess the question, substantial compliance and the abatement efforts that Mr. Seitz has done is satisfactory to the board.
We'll let the board of commissioners make a brief comment piece if they would like to, then we'll let Mr. Boehm, Mr. Seitz, and Ms. Winter on the phone do that. Would that be a?
Yes,
fine way to proceed?
that'd be fine.
Okay, so let's look at the photographs. I think we should all have them in the same order. Photograph number 1 appears to be the south facing end of the building, the front of the building. I see a pickup truck, some various items in the front of the store. The second one is To the east of the building, there appears to be a storage building and some kind of maybe wood thing next to the up there that's visually blocking whatever is behind it. There is no door on the garage, so that all the items in there are visible. Looks like there is a in-between photo between the truck and that building. What looks to be the case here, and this was my observation when I was in person as well, on the east side of the building, there have been metal sheeting of some sort that may be in the range of 6 feet tall. That is gone as a, looks like a wall has been built, basically, a metal sheeting that is blocking the view from the Wuppenheimer property to the site's property. Let's see what picture this is. One. 3, I've lost my place, 4. So numbers 4, 5, and 6, what I'm talking about. Next, we have the west side of the building, which Mr. Seitz, I don't believe, owns the storage buildings there, but he does own the larger story and a half property. This one is from the next one is from the pizza restaurant, where the pizza restaurant used to be. This is another angle that shows part of the side of the building and part of the storage unit. And I guess we're just, Mr. Bain looks like he walked around just to give a good 360 of the building. Then at the bottom, we have another frontal picture showing the items in front of the building. And I'm not sure what this last one is. Maybe, Mr. Bain, can you talk to what's the final picture here? It looks like it's a west end of the building. Is this just a prior photo?
Yes, that's part.
So that's a before picture.
That's correct.
Okay. So that's what.
One before above that there, this is Randy Bain of DuBois County Solid Waste. Was asked by Mr. Snare to assist him on Mr. Slight's property. Personally, Carl and I are very familiar with this property and worked with Mr. Slice for quite some time. I went up this morning. He has called me over the weekend. He continued to do work. I gave him an ample opportunity. I thought in all fairness to him, took up this morning. Unfortunately, Eastern time, the sun was not quite up yet. So that's why some of the visual photos appear to be darker.
Sure.
But in lieu of that, I went ahead and had photos from before. So we can see on the front of the building, he has made drastic improvements. That's the last 2 photos on that photo sheet that I sent out this morning. So the last 3 photos would be, if you go from the very bottom on up, that's what it looked like prior on the east side, then the front prior, very front of the building, and then this other one's on the back side by the pizza view, from the pizza building. So those are just more to give you a familiarization with the property, what it looked like before. So if we go all the way back up and start over with the photos again, and if you zoom them up, he has now characterized everything in the front. He has you can't really depict it, but the picture on the far left-hand side, that actually is a bike rack. Before he had all the bikes just spewed throughout the property. He has a bike rack there. He has like a little toy area, I'm gonna call it. If you pull the photo up, you can see it has like a little swing set, basketball goal. So the front has an appearance of being a display area. So then the next photo, if you pull it up, that's that truck and that big wooden door. That wooden door is a partition wall. And then the front of this little Quonset hut garage is open. There's still a lot of clutter in there, a lot of visual clutter. If you go to the next one, if you stand, and again, I didn't go into the physical property. These are all photo shots that you could obtain from the right away, standing back anywhere from 5 foot to 10 foot. So if you stand back in front of the truck and kind of look in from the road, this is what you see. That little wooden door to the immediate right, piece of wood that you see, that's that door, that big, tall, high door. Now, I don't know if his plan is to continue that door, or it's not very well supported. So I don't know what he's going to do there. The following photo, you'll see that sheet metal that Chad was referring to. It creates a visual block of the items that are behind there. From prior photos, that's why I want to throw that prior photo in before. There's a lot of things inside there. You can't see it now. I don't know what else in there from that standpoint. I don't know if he's pulled everything out. You know, if you look, stand back for it, you can see over the top. But you have to be all the way over to the other tower of the building to see over that thing. So if you just pull into the parking lot and shine your lights in there, which is what I did, you just barely see the tops of things. The big tall items in here are still the semi-trailers. They do have that same metal that goes around the bottom of the ones that you see. In other words, if you walk around the property, like go down back in the alley, he has that metal run along the bottom of those trailers. Before they were exposed, you see the tires, the axles, things. You can't see any of that anymore.
Mr. Bain, is there anything in the property maintenance that allows or disallows someone from having trailers such as this on their property?
They're supposed to be licensed
For a trailer even?
for a trailer, I think. Very good.
Correct.
So that could be an ongoing violation if they're visible and they're,
Could be, but if he's using for storage, and I think that's what we had a discussion about.
Correct. That I guess at this point, he's covered up the wheels by putting that skirting around the bottom, similar to what you would do with a mobile home. Not that it's now a structure or fixture on it, but.
okay, thank you, I just
No,
was
that's,
curious about that issue.
and then, if you go on to the next photo, which is this one here, we're kind of continuing off that little Quonset hut in front. Again, he continues his fence all the way around. So right now, currently, that property is fenced in. I had sent out a photo earlier because when he's continuing to run this fence, it's 6 foot tall fence. And I don't know what kind of sheet metal it is. It looks like it's used sheet metal, which, you know, a lot of people utilize different materials for fencing. But the posts, when you can view it before it's finished, the clear photos, you can see they were just, you know, like a fence post, a steel little, like you hang barbed wire. T-posts. They were T-posts. And so they're not very structurally solid. You know, so I expressed to Mr. Science itself, I said, you know, hey, if you put a fence up, it's gonna have to be secure. It's gonna be something that, you know, can't not be easily blown down. And so at this point, you know, you can still see the top, the T-post actually on the bottom has a little finger on it. You can still see the top of the finger on top of the ground. So we're not very far driven in. Another concern I had, because part of this enforcement code perimeter is if you have a fence, it needs to be secured. Correct.
I don't recall, but again, I think, you know, our requirement is that it needs to be hidden or fenced in so that it's not observable. Ms. Capcongo has my computer to find exact language, so.
Yes.
Sorry.
But part
You're
of
fine,
that,
I give it to you, I'm just saying, I can't give you verbatim anything here.
no, but part of the situation was that when I looked at the fence, it was actually attached to the DuBois County REC telephone pole. So a lot of concern and just to get a guidance on what I need to be looking at, I contacted the REC and asked them about that. I said, there's no way they would allow that. So that's gonna change the direction of its fencing. So that's why I want to bring that to the attention of the commissioners, is that, you know, if he's utilizing this utility pole, because it has a meter on it, that they have to be able to have access and be able to read is what they told me. That it could change the diameter, the dynamics of this fencing. But from a county enforcement criteria, you know, some tweaking per se, you know, it's a whole lot better than what it was. There's not near as much visual material that can be viewed, you know, from driveway, road perimeters. So now it's gonna be just now what the county would like to see from the commissioner's standpoint. I was asked to obtain some bids for assisting on removal. The bids were obtained prior to all this work being done the past probably 4 days. So the bids, we've obtained 4 different bids, came in all over price-wise. And the reason I know that is I did ask them to submit them by email, because that's electronic, we need them in a short period of time.
Sure.
Mr. Chair, I hope it has a.
I have those the envelopes here. I believe Mr. Bennett printed them off. If we need to still go that direction and proceed.
Okay, so we received 4 bids, 2 bids, so that'll work.
Correct.
Or actual submitted bids.
Good.
We had 5 responses, 1.
Carla, do you have any comments you would like to add?
Yeah, basically, just that, if the commissioners would like us to, do any more research on those quotes, they are quotes, and bring that back at the next commissioners meeting, if you want to continue it for some reason and have us do a little bit more work on those, we can do that. I don't really have any other further comments unless you all have questions. This is a commissioner decision at this point, so.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Bain, at this time? Okay. Mr. Seitz, do you have any comments to make?
Yeah. I've got, the company that's gonna put my roof back on. This is the contract and stuff, and whenever they get the roof done, we're gonna put a lean-to from the building that the roof tore off over to the carports. And in front of them, they got a 16-foot garage door where that pickup is sitting. They got a 16-foot garage door put there, so that's all be closed in. You won't see that anymore at all. That's all be closed in right there.
May we have a copy of?
Yeah, you can make copies of that. That's the only copy I have of it. So.
Maybe make 3? That's fine.
And
So can you, just so I'm clear, would you mind approaching and I'll show you a picture, you can kind of clarify this for me. So here is your main structure.
Yeah.
There's your building.
Yeah.
So you're saying they're going to put a roof continuing from here down to here?
Yeah.
That whole distance?
Yeah, from the main building to, it's gonna probably go at least half to the carport. It's all gonna be enclosed in there.
And this truck where that is will have you're saying a
it's
door?
16-foot garage door there. Yeah.
What about for that piece of wood, that'll stay?
No, that's just temporary.
Okay.
That's gonna come down, just put it there for now.
Okay, so you've got work being done on the roof and a continuation. How far back? Get a different photo for you.
I've done most of the stuff myself. I had a few people help me, but I worked night shift last 2 nights, and I only got like an hour of sleep before I went to work each last 2 nights.
On this photo, this shows the east side of your building. That when they do that lean-to, will it go all the way back to this part of the building, or is it just going to be over the front part, where the new roof is?
It's gonna be from the front carport all the way back to the back.
From there to there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I put a wall up there. I was gonna, close that in with another carport. I don't have the beams being all and everything yet, but I'll just put that wall up, and close it all in.
Yes.
And
There's your copy. I'm gonna look at this.
And as far as the T-post, like I say, I did most of the stuff on myself, and it's not very easy to try to hold the post and drive by yourself. I can put some more posts in between. I've got them like every 8 feet
That's about what you do when you build a fence. About every 8 feet, you put a fence, steel fence post. And they're all down to, the barb on the thing is all down. There might be one of them that's not down. Most of them's all down under there. And, I've got everything done except in the back by those concrete blocks. I've got one started, but I didn't have time to finish it. I already took a picture of that, but there's only like one sheet of metal on the back where the concrete blocks are. I'm gonna cover those all up too, and put another piece on top. I got the washers away from the back of the building, so that the washers will do nothing in the back of the building anymore. And, I should have done this a long time ago, I know, but I just.
So this, bid or this contract that you have here doesn't include that lean-to. You're saying that would be an additional bid on top of this?
Yes.
So that's not, that actually isn't scheduled at this time?
Yeah, whenever they get this here done, he's gonna do that. He didn't put the bid together for that yet.
And do you have the funds in place to pay for both of these projects?
For the insurance money.
Okay. You want to see that, Mr. Bain?
No.
No, you're good? Okay.
And he looked at it, he said they just used 2x4s for the rafters, and they was like 6 foot apart, and he said that wasn't built right the first place. He's gonna use 2x6s for the rafters. He's gonna use 2x10s, and where the rafters join together in the middle. Then he's gonna use 2x4 purlings, which you screw the 10 to. So, like I say, I want to thank all you guys for working with. The last meeting, I was from the dentures, I was had them built. So I get my new dentures, I still don't have them yet, I get them Thursday. That's why I wasn't here the last meeting, I forgot about it too, But, like I say, it'll stay like this, from now on.
Okay. Mr. Bain, do you have any questions for?
I did have one question for him. Ken, are you gonna close in the front of the little carport?
I can put a canvas there, or tarp or something.
Are you okay with a tarp, or would you rather see something from the door? Close it off and you can come in the backside of it, or tarp's not gonna be a permanent.
I'd like to see something a little more permanent personally.
So if it's
There's like some stores and docks has those plastic things that split, I don't know if it's something like that, but you walk through those plastic things, and they open up. Just whatever I can, I can do whatever you want me to do, I don't care. I just.
And again, you run this as a business, correct? You sell items out of here?
Yeah.
Do you have, I guess I don't know the right way to say this necessarily. Do you pay sales tax? Do you have a business tax return?
Yes, I've got the Indiana emergency license.
Okay.
And I pay sales tax once a year.
Okay. So I guess what I'm getting at there, if I want to hold it to the same standards we would any other store or any other business, if he has merchandise in there that he's selling as part of his trade, would we make other places close it up, or maybe we would, or maybe it has something on it. If it's something that's movable that he could roll up when he's open and roll down when he's closed, I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think of what's fair to a person of a business. You don't want to, if he's selling these items that are in that yard barn, I don't want them hidden necessarily.
And when I get done with everything, the hallways will all be open, there won't be nothing always, or people can walk in there and, see what I have. I was just in the bind to try to get everything in some place, so it's just all full right now, but when, get the hallways back open, they can walk in and out. you know, and looking out here, look each side, you know, and see what's there.
Is the truck licensed?
Yeah, the truck's licensed. I'm gonna sell it to my nephew, but I don't have it done yet. Yeah, it's licensed. It's my dad's truck.
Okay. Mr. Bain, you get something else?
I do, just to clarify a few points. The truck is licensed and I'm sure that it is currently, current tax. The truck's been several different places on that lot, different times I've gone up there, I think it's good till next year. So the truck is a legal, plated vehicle. When we go into this little carport, and we was talking about, you know, having displays and being able to walk through it and all that, at this point in time, there's actually positively no way, even some of the vendors we took up there. So my recommendation, if the commissioners go that way, that if he's gonna have it accessible, that it does have to be a pathway where you can get your merchandise, not just so it becomes a catch-all, or it has to be completely closed off with a closed door.
Sure. Thank you. Well, let's see what everybody's thinking right now. Commissioner Stefanoga, what are you thinking?
The stuff that's in the front of the building, do you have room for that inside the building?
Well, when I get everything closed in, I can put some more stuff, you know, where the truck is parked, that's all gonna be closed in, you know, it's
I
gonna.
mean, do you have room inside the large building at all for anything else, or is it just completely full?
It's full right now.
How about the tractor trailers that are sitting there? Are they full?
Yeah, they came from Ferdinand. I had a store at Ferdinand, and then Ferdinand shut me down because it wasn't licensed. The building wasn't licensed for business. So I had to move my stuff from Ferdinand to Haynesville, so I got these semi-trailers to put the stuff I kept. I got rid of over 3/4 of my stuff that I had over there. So I've got this semi, I got some stuff in it. And, you know, I have the steps in there, you know, and people can go in there and look and stuff too, you know, but.
In the trailers?
Yeah, that's at the time right now, you know, it's not like that now. And if you want me to move more stuff out, you know, from the front away, I can, you know. But, you know, just like I say, you know, it's displayed now, you can see the back of the building, you know, front of the building. Before it was just piled up, you couldn't even see the building.
Right.
You know, so I just, you know, did my best, you know, just so people could see a few things.
Well, my concern, like I said, you know, people, you know, if they've got access to go in your building, how full it was, so people can actually see the items.
Yeah, and like I say, we're always working on that too, you know, this is my main thing, trying to get the outside, you know.
Sure.
And I can work on everything else now since everything's done outside.
I mean, I see the fencing and stuff in the photos here. I mean, they need to be a lot more secure.
Well, I can put some more fence posts in, driving every 4 foot, if that's what you want. But when you build a fence for a cow, about 8 foot's what you do, you know. But, you know, I got some more fence posts left, I can put some more in there, you know, and so it won't fall over. And those posts are pretty tough, you can't, they'll bend for the break, you know, then they'll ride off eventually, you know, but it's gonna take 10, 15 years probably.
But the siding that you've got, you know, for your fencing it looks pretty used. I mean.
Is that the old roof?
No, the roof is still on there yet now, the old roof, I don't have, now this is stuff I just had probably gotten accumulated, you know, because I knew I was gonna need stuff like this. You know, I can change some, I know some pieces look pretty ragged. When I get my roof, they're gonna keep all of the metal off the roof, they're gonna keep it for me. So when they get that done, I'll have better metal to put there. But, you know, I just had to put something there for now, you know. And I took stainless steel screws, I drilled a hole in the fence post, I've got them screwed like every foot on the fence post, you know, and then, it's pretty solid, you know.
What is the time frame for the lean-to?
Well, they're gonna, it's gonna be they got 2 more projects to finish. He said about 2 weeks, they're gonna start on my roof. He thinks it'll be that maybe take him like 3 or 4 days to get the roof all done. And when they get that done, then they're gonna do the lean-to.
So middle of November, it should be done.
Yeah. You know, I told him, you know, when someone sees there, he wants us to do the lean-to, get everything done, that's all done, you know. That way it's all done, you know, and looking nice and stuff.
I think the fence is a kind of temporary fix, and if you get this lean-to done and refrain from stacking your things outside, I would be satisfied. But as we keep seeing continued things being stacked outside and piles and whatnot, we'll still have a problem in my eyes.
There won't be nothing outside anymore, I'm gonna have everything inside the tents.
Okay.
That's what picked up or
And
something.
then once the lean-to's done, I'm assuming
Huh?
that the lean-to's gonna go out to about where the fence is now. Is the fence is a temporary solution? Or is this your permanent solution, the fence?
On the north side, that's gonna be the permanent.
Okay.
But like you say, you know, if we're gonna get the roof off, metal off there, y'all know it's pretty bad sometimes. Because tornado, you're tore it off. I can change it, you know, but it looks nicer right there, but, you know, the other stuff is bad, I can change. Cause I have a whole bunch of roof, it's like 60 foot long, the building. There's a lot of roof there, you know.
Right.
So,
Okay, I agree. I think you're gonna need to put some more posts in. You know, for a cattle fence, that's wire. The wind's gonna blow right through that. The siding, if the wind gets that, it's gonna be like a sail, and it's gonna pull those out and blow.
and I can also put some brace posts, you know, like put another T-post and fast fit top. So if it pushes against, you know, it makes it more solid. Do that also.
So as part of your question, because this is a question I have, so a lean-to is just in my understanding, you tell me if I'm wrong, it's just a continuation of the roof, and then at some point it's gonna have posts along where this fence is. I think the question is, are there just going to be posts and this fence is going to stay, or is there going to be new metal siding? Is that what you're kind of asking?
Right. Are you gonna build the lean-to in, or is it just the roof?
No, the lean-to is it's gonna have a,
It'll be enclosed.
Closed.
yeah.
Okay.
The back where the dock will be open, but nobody's gonna see that because I got the fence all the way around.
Right.
And, like I say, the lean-to is gonna go from the existing roof probably to like halfway between, in the middle of the carport, where it's gonna let this tin stick as far as it does. Then like, you know, maybe 10 foot from the where the carport is, they're gonna put a wall up, you know, with some posts up to support it. And then the excess roof is just gonna sit on top of the carports. I can screw that down too, probably, you know, because I got other stuff screwed down, you know. So, you know, this guy, you know, he does a very good job. I've had a bunch of references from him and stuff. He says you probably put like 2x10s or 2x8s on the lean-to, because it's gonna be like a 25-foot span. And then, so he's gonna put big enough stuff there so it's gonna stay there. So, you know, I got the extra money right now, I'm also get it done right. I don't, when I do something, I don't do it halfway, I do it right the first time. A lot of people in the past said you do stuff, you overdo stuff. I'd rather overdo it than have to do it 3 times, you know, if you keep doing it. So that's all I had. Like I say, you know, I'm sorry I got to this point, you know, and stuff, and I worked my tail off this past week.
So Mr. Bain, in your opinion, or Mr. Schneider, maybe you'll think too, when looking at these photographs, do you believe that Mr. Seitz is in substantial compliance with the policy? Or you think that he's not, or you believe that it's a subjective opinion?
I think it's subjective. I think that he has done a lot of things to bring himself into compliance. You know, when you compare something from 2 years ago and even 2 weeks ago, this is a significant improvement, which if somebody drove by now may not warrant a complaint. You know, it's similar to other locations throughout the county probably. There are obviously concerns, as you brought up, of the longevity, the siding for a fence, trying to find a way to fasten that down and make sure it doesn't go somewhere. Because if it does go somewhere, then you're in violation again, okay? Again, it's unfortunate it took these types of efforts and this length of time to get to this point, but I think the board could easily state that he has abated the problems and is in compliance, but it's always subject to new violations going forward.
Mr. Bain?
I concur. Like he's made great efforts over the past the last 2 weeks. And so the efforts are there. It's just a matter of he'll continue on with what he's promising.
I believe our options as a board would be to remediate any problems that we still see that are there.
Correct.
We could close the case and say you're in substantial compliance, or we could say we would push this off
Correct. You
for
can continue it
a
as
future
well.
meeting to review further. Are there any other options I'm not thinking of?
I agree with those. Basically, you'd review it again in 2 meetings, 4 weeks, whatever, 6 weeks, to kind of keep a thumb on it, so to speak, make sure that things don't fall back into disrepair, and then release it at that time, and any new violations are just that, new violations or new complaints.
So the third option is where I would be leaning. It seems like Mr. Sykes is making good faith effort to do this. I know this has been a multi-year project issue, but that being what it is, we're making progress now. I'm interested in seeing what the lean-to looks like and how that remedies some of this. That's probably where I'm leaning, to give him till second meeting in November to have the lean-to finished and have all this done. Otherwise, I would say it doesn't look like he's in full compliance to me now, because there's still items that appear to be, in my opinion, would be junk that you can see from the roadway. So I don't believe he's in full compliance, but I think he's on the path towards getting there. Commissioner Hofstadter?
I would agree with you that I want to wait and see, the progress that we get and how this lean-to works out. If you said you were finished today, I would say that you're not in compliance. But because you have made progress and you're showing us that you're going to continue to make this progress, I think I would agree to wait till mid-November meeting and review again and hopefully be able to release it at that point.
I think you'd like us out of your hair, and we'd like you out of our hair. And so if we have full compliance mid-November, I think we'll be, it sounds like 2 of us will be satisfied. Mrs.
I agree. I think we'll take another look at it in November. And in the meantime, secure the fence that you have and the posts and stuff like that, and we'll see what kind of progress. Take a look at it.
Mr. Sykes, do you have any final comments before we give our final ruling?
I just want to thank the board for work with me, because I know you could have. It made it a lot harder on me.
Sure. No, we appreciate your efforts. Mr. Bain, any final comment?
The only question I would have is, might be more directed to Mr. Snares, our proposer. Bids that we had received, or
I would say at this point, we can either, we haven't opened them, and we can render them moot at this point and revisit it on the 20th. We can reject them all. We could open them and take them under advisement, but we'd be holding them for more than 30 days. I also think the scope of the quotes will probably change based upon the improvements that are made. So I appreciate us getting those, but I think it's something we would have to redo.
Okay. I'm not interested in opening the quotes. I think that they were necessary, because if we would have came back and nothing had changed, we would have needed to do that. But
So we'll render the quotes moot
We'll
based
reject
upon the
them.
progress, and we'll reject them.
So I'll make a motion that we rule that on November 20th, 2023, at 9 o'clock, we will have another hearing for the trash court. And at that time, Mr. Sykes shall be in full compliance with the code and have that lean-to completed as we discussed today. That's how I would like us to rule. Looking for a second. Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, same sign. The motion carries. So, Mr. Schneider, will you be mailing Mr. Sykes a meeting,
I can do that, yes.
something to that? So you'll have something in the mail from us, and please have it looking beautiful by then, and then we'll part ways and have a nice holiday.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay.
Well, before you close trash court, you want to update Jim Razor. He did not pay his fine as of 4:00 Friday.
Okay, so trash court's still in session. So we have Andrew Razor, who was fined $300. It was due by the 29th of September, and we have not received those funds at this time. So we could levy additional fines.
We could.
We could,
We could put it on the tax roll, I think, as well, or we could pursue them in small claims collection court for the ordinance violation.
so as a reminder, this was the violation itself was, well, we had a meeting in July and they didn't show. Is that correct?
Correct. They had service. This is the gentleman that we had moved it due to his service in the guard for the military
Yes.
reserve. And then when we reset it, which he was aware of, he did not appear for that. So based upon his failure to appear, we issued a fine because he had an opportunity to be here and be heard, and set a deadline for that. I mailed that notice out to him. I don't know that it was claimed, actually,
It's in there, but it was.
if I recall.
I think he got the mail, but he didn't get the.
So typically, I always direct that our letters be sent certified and first-class mail. The first-class mail did not return to us as undeliverable. The certified was not signed for it, therefore I believe it was just ejected.
Do you need a reminder? You remember which one this is? Okay. So options, guess we could, so we're still in trash court. Mr. Razor didn't pay his fine, it was due on the 29th. Yeah, so.
If you'd like, I can, he didn't pay it by Friday. He's not gonna pay it in the next 2 weeks probably either. I can get a summary of options that we can pursue and discuss it at our meeting in 2 weeks. Or you can take action today.
I mean, if is the process, what process does it take to put it on the property tax roll?
I don't know off the top of my head right now. So,
Because that'd be my first choice.
So you can make a decision then to pursue that option, and if it's unsuccessful, we can revisit it next meeting.
So that's the direction I'd like to go with it. Maybe we give Mr. Schneider the next 2 weeks to figure out how we make that happen. The reason I say that is small claims just kind of kicks it down the road again, and then we still have a collection problem. Because on the property tax, there's a good mechanism in place to make that fine payable. If it's not paid in 3 sessions, then the home would be eligible for tax sale, and then we still get the fine. So would that satisfy the board to move forward in that direction? So we won't take any action today, but we'll take more information in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anything else regarding trash court? Okay, we'll close trash court. We'll reopen the DuBois County Commissioners meeting. Do you need a break?
No.
Okay, so we'll continue with the health insurance discussion with Max Bobble and HR Director Mark Rose.
We'll probably just kind of tag team these, I guess, and,
Good morning, Dan, couldn't make it today, so you're stuck with me, but, just wrapping some things up for your renewal. Obviously we came, I think it was 2 weeks ago, to figure out the rates and whatnot. Just a few things we're kind of letting out there, which need sign off and approval on. Been talking a lot with Marky on these. So on that first page, you'll see there in the packet, You look at this, the new medical rates are listed up there at the top. And then your contributions, you'll see on these two sides, on the two on the left side, those be your current contributions. As you know, you have a wellness plan, and also a non-wellness plan, so you'll see the differences in contributions. And then you'll see on the right side, the top right, you'll see a 5%. One next down to that is a 6%.
Before you go any further back, can you tell me what's that mean? That's very top, where it says new medical rates. What does
Yeah,
that
so
mean?
those are the new medical rates that'll be enforced for you all going forward.
That's with the 111%, the renewal.
Yeah, that's the renewal, those are the new medical rates overall.
With stop loss renewal.
Yeah.
And that's what it costs us as a whole per employee if it's the first one. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, that's the overall rates, and then you get the contributions. So whatever an employee contributes, it would be just minus that. So for instance, say, if, currently they're on the wellness plan, it's $25 a month, you take $25 off that $910.
So the county pays $885 or whatever.
Correct.
And the person pays $25.
Correct.
So this is the per employee per month medical rate.
Overall, correct.
And you're adding a fourth year.
Correct, yeah.
Because right now we have E+1, not E+spouse, E+child.
Yeah, so that means, employee only, employee spouse, employee child, and family at the bottom of that fourth row.
Okay, I'm with you, thank you.
And so, as we talked, I know, with Marky a lot, and it's something you all brought up before, I know you guys' medical plans are extremely rich, very, low contribution. So we kind of talked about, maybe what would an increase look like? Obviously, you don't want to just come in here and throw out that big increase, but to get you more in the market, you'll see the top is the 5%. So 5%, we're getting that 5%, that's from just the overall medical rates at the top. So 5% of that $910. The next one down would be a 6% and a 7%. And the reason why we say this, and we talked with Marky about it, is maybe over time, over a few years, maybe get it more to about a 10% overall. That's going to really put you in the market, even in line with other municipalities. And meaning 10%, employee pays 10% of the overall premium.
And currently we're about 2%.
Yeah. So just put that out there.
You understand what they're saying there, because I didn't understand it before the meeting. I had to ask Mark, what they're talking about.
About 6 or 7% of the cost.
Correct. Yeah, currently we're right around 2.
Yeah.
Employee contribution portion.
Right.
So maybe just, and we've talked with Marky, maybe just take a baby step this year and maybe do that 5%, that top one. So you'll see for employee only, if you're on the wellness plan, it'd be $31.90 a month instead of the $25. That's what, Dan and I, we've talked and suggest either 5 or 6%. I don't think you should do the 7%. That's a big jump from just 1 year. Mark, your thoughts?
Yeah, we're trying to, tightrope here is staying competitive in the marketplace as well as for, obviously take care of our current employees also. It's a major financial hit on those. So we're primarily looking at premium increases this year.
And you want us to get to 10 eventually?
That's just, it's obviously all up to you all. That gets you a lot more in the market, especially in line with other municipalities, governments that we work with. They're a lot closer to that 10%. But that's just what we're seeing in the market.
I think it all takes into effect to the council,
Yeah.
Other counties, even 8, 9, and we've been last 2 years prior to this year, we've been at 3. So, you gotta weigh your,
Yeah.
But if you look at it another way, of all these years, you've kind of been getting a raise, you just don't see it because of the insurance.
Absolutely.
yeah, 'cause the renewal for the last 2 years, I think, I'm not sure what last year was, I'm thinking it was 9, 10, this year's 11.
Yeah.
So, counties, the last 2 years, we took probably a 20% hit without passing.
Yeah, the way I would look at it is if you're getting the health insurance, it's costing the county 9% more every year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not costing the person anything every year. At some point, it can't go on definitely.
Right.
I agree. I don't think employees realize how much is being paid for them by their health insurance.
There's very few places you're gonna go and get $500 deductible, and I know that
You're not gonna find it.
No.
very few, so.
So this is the premium portion.
Mhm.
The other thing that costs an employee or a user will be their max out of pocket. and
Correct, their deductible out of
That'll be
pocket.
So I don't know that we need to make a decision on this page yet. So
No, I just wanted to put it out there.
The next page is looking at that. I'm not recommending any plan design changes other than it would be for the non-wellness. That's your second page there. You got over there to the left, you got your deductibles on a single family, your out-of-pocket single and family. The blue is the current tier. The yellow is an option 1, which would be.
Copy for me by any chance?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one right there.
Oh, okay. I see that.
So currently it's a $900 single deductible. Option 1 would put it at $1,000, and option 2 would also put it at $1,000. For the family, currently it's $1,150. Option 1 would put it at $1,500. Option 2 would put it at $2,000. Out of pocket max on the single is $1,650. Option one would be $2,000. Option 2 would also be $2,000. Out of pocket on the family is $2,900. Option 1 would be $3,500, and option 2 would be $4,000. And again, this is just be for non-wellness only.
Yeah, correct. I know you don't have that many employees on this either.
My comment to Mr. Rhodes earlier today was if people are, we want to encourage people to do the wellness checks every year. So if we want to continue to raise the pain threshold on the non-wellness people, I don't have necessarily a problem with that because I don't think it's an honor thing to say, go meet with somebody 4 times a year and get your blood drawn here. Because that could catch cholesterol, high blood pressure.
Our new employees do not get wellness until the next year.
Correct.
So how do you two feel about that? Do you want to add more pain to the non-wellness people, or do you like it being as it is, or not?
Yeah.
The other question we had was about smoking, because that's a preventable disease-causing activity. I'm a previous smoker. I know it stinks to quit, and it's hard, but it is something that is easily tracked. We can, or not easily. I guess what I'm getting at is if we wanted to add something to the plan, if you're a smoker, to make it more painful, more expensive, because you're going to cost the plan more, we can have that do a mouth swab each year during our wellness thing to, because right now it's on people's good word if they're a smoker or not. So if they're smart and about their, they can just be deceiving if they want it. All they gotta do is say, no, I don't do it, then do it. Yeah, it may protect the plan better to encourage people to quit smoking.
Yeah. We have a lot of employers in town that do it's called tobacco attestation. So you basically just say, if you're non-tobacco, you get X amount off your, contributions for that year. So we see it with a lot of our clients.
So like one of your other clients, do they prove it?
So it's kind of a gray area. So you basically during open enrollment, you just check it. It's hard to kind of balance it. They don't go as far as do a mouth swab. They kind of the HR kind of watches it, but I know they've mentioned they have people on there that do smoke that currently get that off. So it's hard to regulate, I'd say.
I think the only way you totally regulate, you'd have to go 100% would be the doing with the wellness screen, which is going to be a cost. I'm not sure what that cost is for those.
So you know what that costs?
I can figure it out for you.
I don't know what they are currently.
Do you think that's worthwhile?
I need for somebody to do that though. I mean, that's kind of.
It would just be
great line.
Be part of the wellness plan.
well, yeah.
You don't have to do it, but it's gonna cost you plan.
Yeah.
You're gonna hire a tier.
It would
We're
just
already
be-
doing it.
It would just be added into the wellness blood draw if you wanted to add that.
Yeah. I can check on the pricing because obviously it may make sense, it may not. So.
Okay.
Go with that one. Next page, just go through this pretty quick. As we mentioned earlier, if you look at the bottom there, those are the new medical rates. You'll see the employee, spouse, employee, child, and family. Then you'll see obviously if you have anyone on Cobra, is there currently?
Currently, we have one Cobra on Cobra right now.
And always what you'll see with that is the medical rates is just 2% increase for if someone goes on the Cobra. So you see that 2% is up there at the top.
And the retiree rates there, that's that Indiana code, you have to offer it. And basically that's just a savings off of that 2%.
Yeah. We do have a list.
Okay, so there's nothing really to do there?
No, I just want to show that.
Well, we'll have to approve it, but, you know, we can either we can circle back and go and start approving some stuff, or we can keep going.
I'd say with this, we go
These
ahead
are
and
the
do it.
COBRA rates you're presenting,
Correct, yeah.
but they can't change till January 1.
Correct, or they'd be January 1 for you.
I'll go ahead and move that we approve the COBRA rates effective January 1, 2024, as stated on the form we have.
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carried.
The next few pages here are some voluntary benefits. We'll look at the long-term disability, comparing, currently we have NIS, National Insurance Services. We'd like to see that move to One America. Last year and a half has been very much a struggle working with NIS from my side, and especially from the auditor's side, from a payroll. They have been really terrible to work with, and it's taken us a lot of time every month to reconcile billings and stuff of that nature. Currently, we're partnered with One America. They've been a great partner. So that's where I see us.
We're partnered with them on group life.
On group life,
Correct,
yeah, group
yeah.
life. So I would like to see a move to One America there.
I favor doing that. How about the two of you for the first long-term disability and voluntary life?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, the second one is voluntary life, and it's the same thing. It's a move from NIS to One America.
I'm going to make those changes for long-term disability and voluntary life from NIS to One America.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, that motion carries.
The last page is, it's gonna have with One America across the top. That is our group life. We're currently at 10,000. The industry has moved to primarily 20 or 25. There's only a couple counties in Indiana that still got to 10,000. Most are at 20 or 25, just because funeral cost is going up. I would recommend us moving to 20,000. It would be an increase in $5,716 on an annual basis if we was to elect that. So there is going to be a cost, but you know that's going to be.
And that's the overall cost increase.
Yeah. And I did talk to some people in that industry, and 20,000 would put us in a good spot where at least the families of the employee would not have to worry about covering medical expenses. So currently they would. I mean, at 10,000, well, I mean, I guess depending on how low you want to go, you would.
So when I look at this one, I'm satisfied with keeping it at 10,000. I reviewed it. I look at this as this would be for an indigent employee that just doesn't have any way, they don't have a family, they don't have whatever, and this would be enough to take care of their final expenses. Otherwise, I think this is a personal decision on that person. I've got my own life insurance policies. I think many people do. I think it's a personal decision. I think this is a nice benefit for that employee that may not have anything, and this will take care of their final expenses. That's what I stand. Mr. Hostetter?
Oh, I'm kind of on the fence here. I think it's a nice thing to offer, even if they're not an indigent employee. Nice thing to offer, and see the cost as being all that large. So, Cerise, you want to sway my decision here?
I'm leaning towards a 20. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
So we've got a 10 and a 20.
I would go with 20 then.
Okay. So let's, and that's the recommendation of the Human Resources Department? Yeah. Okay, so we have a couple people want to do that, so I'll just make that motion. I'll put it on the table there for a $20,000 increase our group life policy for employees from a $10,000 to a $20,000 benefit.
I will second.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Aye, motion carried.
All right, so now the last piece, we just need to circle back to, the non-wellness plan design. And then our premium for 2024.
So I'll say, my opinion on the page, the first page would be to do the 6. I think that puts us in a pretty good position.
That splits us in the middle.
I think that's what the county council was looking at something in that area as well, whenever I talked to them. And it doesn't nearly catch up for all the years of plan increases that the county absorbed, so it's just a little bit of a help. That's my thought on it.
I do not have an issue going with the 6.
And those premiums are still below marketplaces. I mean, you're not gonna go anywhere and pay that kind of premium for the coverage we still got. So it's an increase, but we've not had an increase.
It's not one in 8 years. Right, so
6%.
Now, do we tie it to that percentage? Can we tie it to a percentage?
Each year? Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're meaning if the plan goes up 10% next year, then the contribution goes up 10% from the employee?
Right, but they would still pay 6% of that.
Yeah.
You can adjust it every year,
Yeah.
however you'd like to.
I guess my thought is, I don't wanna get to a point 5-10 years down the road where we gotta do a big jump again. I'd rather
You can review it every year.
have an incremental.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what we got.
It's easier to
I'm
absorb.
not saying I wanna go for 6 to 7% next year.
Sure.
But if we said we're gonna contribute 6% of it, and we're gonna try to stay around that 6% mark annually, then, if next year it jumps considerably, we're not back to 2% again.
Yeah.
So you're saying we can set the plan up to stay at 6%, not to stay at these rates?
Correct.
So basically what we're doing is we're locking in for what employee would contribute for 2024 for that plan.
But yeah.
But historically, what we've done is we've set a rate and that rate has stayed
Just
regardless.
yeah.
We haven't done a percentage.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So I agree with you. We keep it at this contribution. I think that's fair. The county pays more, the employee pays more.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so we can set it up that way. So next year you'll come in and say, this is what that would look like.
And it'll be based on the renewable.
Otherwise, we would look at it next year and it would say, for example, 5466. Then the next year after that would be 5466. And the year after that, we would stay that way until we made a
Correct.
Until we want to make
Until we want to make
correct.
correct.
we did a rate base instead of percentage base. So yeah, I'm good with that. Okay, I'll move that we approve the 6% employee contribution tier.
One second.
And for that to go on here.
And to go to 4 tiers.
And to go to the 4 tiers, yeah. That's my total motion there. 4 tiers, 6% employee contribution, and for that contribution amount to run year to year.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carried. And then we have the non-wellness.
Non-wellness. Yeah. And honestly, if I had to make the recommendation, that was actually, I sat down with couches, we were actually looking at plan design across the board and, we decided to settle in on premiums rather than do a lot of plan design changes. So, our initial recommendation would have been option 2 on that page, if you look at it. That's where we would be coming in at, initially. The option 1 is just a split in the middle from our current versus.
Could you repeat what you said? I was reading.
Yeah, so initially when we were sitting down looking at benefits with options and everything, we were looking at plan design changes and we were looking at going across wellness and non-wellness and then we started looking at premiums and we decided to focus in on premiums. So if we was to do a non-wellness plan design, that option 2 is where we were leaning to come in here with a proposal initially anyway. But option one is just a kind of split in the middle of the two.
I'm satisfied with option two. I think it goes to my points earlier that let's make it more
Exactly.
beneficial to participate in the wellness.
I agree on the surface. The only issue I would have is that the non-wellness people were kind of knocking twice here. We're raising the rate, plus we're gonna hit them from this side as well. Playing a little bit of devil.
Well, and like I said, your new people don't have the option. They have to be non-wellness until they.
Correct, and then we could change that. We currently, all new employees go into non-wellness. That's how we had it set up. We could change it where all new hires go into wellness and then they just have to.
That's right, because they didn't participate.
Correct, they would have to participate in the current year for the
And it
next.
shouldn't maybe take them quite as long to get to.
Yeah.
wellness.
Correct.
So if they're hired in December, do they have to wait 1 month plus another 12 months? Because that's what it would take to participate.
Correct, yeah.
2 years screening, yeah,
Or if they hired in January, then they could hit their standards, but there's gotta be some point in the year where they wouldn't.
Still the next year.
They would have to get hired in the third month to be able to qualify for wellness for the next year, right? 'Cause they'd
Well,
have to
they
meet
have to
their,
participate in the screening.
Yeah.
right, they'd have to participate.
Yeah,
before.
so, and then the following year, say they would get those rates then.
So if they were hired in April, then they've gotta go that whole year and all of next year.
No, we did change that for 2020 this year. We did change that because that was a hiccup that we did have.
That was
So currently, like if somebody's hired, now, they would have to do the fourth quarter, they would have to get in the fourth quarter wellness bill check. So we are trying to be a little more fair in that regard. And then they would qualify for January of 2024.
I mean, if that's a concern with people, then with any of you, then I'm okay with doing option one. It's a little bit of an increase. I think it kind of meets both of what we're looking at.
Right, I'm just looking at, for non-wellness, we're going, current discounted $92.50 up to $155.77, which is about a $60 per month jump. And then we're gonna hit them with.
Which one are you on for family?
Yeah, if you go to the 6%, the
Okay,
current
family,
one, non-wellness is
$92.50.
$92.50. 6% contribution non-wellness goes to $155.77 for family, $93.62. So up $13 for employee plus child, $25 for.
But they could save themselves $40 per month by spending 5 minutes with Lindsay.
Sure.
And getting a blood test.
Yes.
It's, you're right.
Well, I think we want to encourage us to go into the wellness stuff.
Hey, we have some that point blank just will not do it. And actually, we had, even when we first, all we did was the wellness screen at one point. And, I mean, we had people who wouldn't do that. So you got some that just will not participate, period, no matter what it is. And,
It's
I mean, it's a
not,
choice. I mean,
it's not a real big jump. I just see them getting kind of a double whammy here.
Yeah. And actually, the out of pocket, again, that's just gonna be if, you have major medicals, I mean, that are, to go to that out of pocket, so. On the deductible, option one or option two on a single coverage would only increase by $100. Now, the deductible on a family would be an increase of $350 or $850.
I said we'll go to option one.
We got 2 for option one, if you're not option one.
Okay, I'll move that for the non-wellness plan, we select option one.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And that's all we had.
Well, that was fun. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
All right, appreciate it. I know we're a little behind, nobody.
Susan in the middle of track.
That was my fault, I added one more.
I heard you say it as I was walking.
I didn't
but
pay.
know it was, We'll take our eye over there.
No, I'm getting ready to winterize it, so. I could have done it a month ago.
So many times it's gone up. Now I realize that's not going to happen.
No, foliage chairs.
No, kids aren't too, they can go on all this fancy one.
Because I.
Where it all do, you just show up.
On my paperwork.
Or right along.
I still got.
I get him to do right now. He offered yesterday, another minute.
Folder or anything special.
You should write your report.
I kind of typed up my own meeting.
Yeah, same kids.
Yeah, were they there?
Thursday and Friday.
They used to print them out, put notes on
They
them.
got
I
it.
dumped them off on Saturday. So moving my new one.
Just keep it all put through, one page number.
Pretty sad, so.
But then I know, that's how I'm gonna pull that out.
You get to a point where it's hard if you especially when you keep them on, it's like, it's just everything.
It's just
So we're a little bit,
I should have done that.
but you're. Talking this will be yours.
All right, we're a little bit behind, so we'll get back, call this back to order. Jared Kleinhelter, you're next on the agenda. Sorry about the wait. Oh, no problem. Get used to it sometimes. Tom Kleinhelter, Sheriff. I got two matters that I would like to bring up today. And Kendra Nichols with Locking Arms is here to talk as well. As the first one is going to be the, I know I emailed you all about the car raft that Kendra came to me about a month, maybe 6 weeks ago with the idea of wrapping a car with Locking Arms Suicide Prevention, the 988 number. And I'm going to let her give you a little bit of statistics on why she believes and I believe that having it on a police car would be hugely beneficial for the county.
So with the 988, you can call or text it. So that's been huge because obviously we know nowadays with kids, they don't want to answer a questionnaire when it's dropped on their desk. I was one of those kids in high school, but so with the 988, they're getting an immediate response. They're getting a response within 41 seconds, and they're getting someone to talk to right away. I personally called all of the local therapists and Memorial here in Jasper, anyone in DuBois County. It looks like no one is able to get help or see a therapist here in DuBois County right away. The wait is anywhere from a week to 2 weeks. Memorial was actually on a wait for several months for a while. They recently just got a new therapist in. So we're wanting to push the 988 out more. It was released in July 2022, and they have seen over 5 million contacts with that. There was just a few issues.
And 988 is nationwide?
Yes, yes. So what they do is they will locate where you currently are, and if they feel like they need to go and actually see someone face to face, or if they need to be admitted somewhere, they will find the local place and get them connected that way.
And with the local providers, you said there's a wait. I
Mhm.
understand that.
Yeah,
There's been a wait
those-
for a long time. They do have, don't they have emergent care for, I'm feeling suicidal, they have someone that.
Well, you can go to 9 or to the hospital, you can call 911 obviously, but they're not really gonna get help when they go into the hospital. They will get admitted and will be put on a 72-hour hold if they have any suicidal ideation. But beyond that, then they're released and they're on their own again. So
So if somebody walked into LifeSpring today, you don't think they were exhibiting these suicidal thoughts, or they said, I'm not feeling safe in here, they would have somebody to see them?
Yeah, they would probably call us and we would take them to the hospital.
You think that's how it would work?
That's exactly how it would work, yes.
Yeah. mental health just isn't really taken very seriously. I have been a part of Locking Arms. I started it in 2019, and we have been pushing about being different and being more bold. And in 4 years, I have seen an amount of growth for us, just because we've been approaching it differently than what other groups have done. We're wanting to just basically put this image on it that it's okay to talk about mental health, and it's not something to be ashamed of or something to ignore. I do want to share, like, we do a memorial table at our benefit every year, and we have over 60 individuals on that memorial table that were people that have been lost by suicide. We don't even reach out to these people. These people reach out to us and contact us to put their loved ones on that table. And for every one suicide, there's 135 people that are affected. For Du Bois County, we had 60 people on that table times 135. That's 8,100 people in Du Bois County that have been affected by a suicide. So they are going to experience mental health issues following a suicide death. Right now, that's not even including the suicides in Du Bois County. 2021 was a big year for us. We had 9 suicides in Du Bois County. Currently this year we stand at 3, and last year we had 6.
And Sheriff, are those, who determines if it's a suicide or if I know it's a coroner make that determination?
Yeah, we respond to the death scene, and then we, in conjunction with us and the coroner is the actual one that would determine that, but we work together as a team.
You said there's been 3 suicides in 2023?
Mm-hmm. Indiana is above the national average for suicides for the last 5 years. And we've had nearly 1,000 Hoosiers die every year by suicide since 2017. So, like I said, we're trying to be a little bit more different by doing this car route. We think that will put more of an image out that it's okay to talk about it. It will remind everyone that 988 number is there. They don't have to sit on the phone and call all these local areas. As I had to do it just this week, I called all of the local therapists. Some of them you can't even get in contact with them. You have to send them an email. So, I mean, I don't know if you've ever experienced suicide or you know somebody that has ever had issues with it, but it's really hard to sit on the phone and look for help. Especially when, I mean, you just want answers, you want immediate help. So that 988 number that is available is easy to call or even text.
I think one of my goals is if we did the wrap, it would be to put it on one of the school resource officer cars. Obviously, having that sitting at the schools and in those districts and being driven around, kids just play a bigger part for us, right? I mean, let's be honest, but I'd rather have a high school girl, which I got to hear, it's like in grades 7 through 12 in 2022, 1 in 4 girls seriously considered suicide. And I thought that was that's a lot. That's a lot of girls that seriously consider it. Just having it at the school, maybe they don't know or remember that number right away, but they walk outside and see the police car there. Maybe one of them will call. It's one of those things we'll never know. But I mean, just having it visible, I don't think it's a bad idea. And I know some of the emails that were going around, I get the concern. That's not a concern of mine as far as if somebody else wants theirs. I mean, if we can't agree, the sheriff and the board of commissioners, whoever at the time, can't agree that it's the right thing for a car, it doesn't happen. I believe this is. I think this is it's a positive thing. If there's a stigma out there in the public already about suicide, let's just meet it head on and say it doesn't have to be, especially in the high schools. You know, if somebody's thinking about it, well, maybe they'll call that number instead of talking to a counselor at school or even talking to their friend. And that's what we want.
Kendra, it's not just a suicide hotline, correct? I mean, what other services does 988
It also
provide?
helps with veterans and then the LGBTQ community as well. So
So is it for any crisis?
it's really in
Or is it?
any mental health crisis. I wouldn't say any crisis because obviously
Maybe
for
yeah,
yeah,
broad,
certain things,
yeah.
but any mental health related crisis. So if a veteran calls, if they call 988, they just hit option 2, and they will get directed to the veteran specific line for mental health. And what they do is they actually outsource to, they have like camps that the veterans can go and stay at and things like that. So it's, like I said, it's been really, really beneficial. I can give you guys some of these too. This is the last year, the first year of the 988.
It also has a Spanish speaking.
Yes, it has Spanish option as well. I thought I had another one. Thank you. And I just want to point out that we are not looking at it as us advertising. I have complete confidence that Locking Arms is still going to get acknowledgement doing the other things that we do in the community. We are always busy. We ran in the Jasper Strassenfest parade this year, and we had people applauding us just for even being there and talking about suicide and showing that it's okay. We've also seen a really good spark in the youth, and we're working on getting more involved in the schools as well. So we're hoping that this also helps us open that door, that we're able to get out there with the kids and help them too.
I think I agree with the sheriff. My initial concern was, what if some other great organization wants to do the similar thing, but yeah, we take it piecemeal. I mean, that can be part of what we do here, what's good for the community. If some organization we don't agree with wants to do it, I guess we just take the heat for not approving theirs if we did approve this one. And that's just how that works. That's why we're put in positions of trust to make those decisions. Do you have a mock-up of what this might look like?
Yes. So when you mentioned that too, with working with us compared to other organizations, I printed off too, so that's okay. With working with other organizations, Locking Arms for Suicide Awareness is the only registered organization for Du Bois County for the state of Indiana. We're going to be running the Du Bois County Loss Team. So when there is a suicide in Du Bois County, Tom or the coroner will contact us, and we will be available for the families. Being a suicide loss survivor myself, I think this is going to be a huge opportunity for Du Bois County as well. But yeah, we are the only local registered loss team for Du Bois County in Indiana.
I think it's a good idea. I think it's an interesting look, but I think it'll get your attention.
Right.
That's not the finalized.
You're gonna notice a vehicle looking like that.
Yeah, that's not the finalized one, but that was by far my favorite.
And in my life experience, the bad thing about the suicides that I've had in my family and in my friendship circle is that you just wish that they would have had another chance, because another day you might get a different point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
Yeah,
having people hang on that one day or that couple of days. Did you see it, right? No, I would favor doing it, and this is going to be funded by Locking Arms.
Yes, we are
And
ready to
is
cut it
there,
out.
you're comfortable with it, won't impair your functionality of your vehicle, won't do anything? I mean, it's just, I don't know how they work, that's why I'm asking.
There's an option. You can get the removable ones, or you can get the permanent ones too, so.
Does it
Do you know how these work?
What happens
You
to
do
what's
these?
already on the vehicle?
I do.
It's just
It
covered
just
up?
covers
It
it
just
up.
covers.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's not
so-
paint, it's like a wrap, like
Yeah.
It's made out of plastic?
Vinyl.
The vinyl?
I mean, it's pretty amazing.
So, Sheriff, your request is, do you have permission to put one of these on a county property? I would move to approve moving forward with the wrap as it's been presented to us today.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
No,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you.
Kendra.
Okay, thank you again.
Thank you.
Move right into the second reason that I'm here today, and I know we did a little bit of emailing over the weekend also on a kind of works hand in hand and kind of what we just talked about here, and that's the implementation of a social worker position. I know as our office has attempted, when Director Durlock was at Community Corrections, we applied for a grant twice, and were denied twice on a social worker position on grant approval. But I think Jesus and Beth are both here with me today, and there's just a tremendous need for a social worker. And I know we talked about
I
LifeSprings.
think we just got a grant for that, did we not?
That was, I think,
I'm
the
supposed to talk to
corrections
Jenny
did.
today about signing it.
Corrections may have received a grant for that? Is that the,
Yeah, it's a mobile crisis team, and yes, there's a grant for that.
I mean,
Yeah. They're not functioning. As of this morning, they're still not functioning. They have no, the workers.
we just
So,
had something to
You
say.
can utilize the phone, but you can't utilize the mobile aspect of it.
Okay, please continue.
My goal obviously is to get this as a full-time position. I think there's a tremendous need for it. I'm gonna give you this. I kind of did a little more research over the weekend. I know I put together an email. Take some time to read that sometime. If you're not in a position to make any kind of motion today, I'd be happy to come back or happy to sit down and talk about any questions or any concerns that you have. But the amount of times that we spend with one individual over numerous occasions, that we just don't know what to do with. Sometimes you have the family, and I just had this last week on text messages from a family member that they just want her arrested because they don't want her to die. And there's nothing we can arrest her on. There's nothing we can do anything with, and there's just nowhere to go. We've taken her to the hospital 2 or 3 times, and she just, nothing negative about any of the places like that, but there's certain criteria that need to be met to get someone admitted into the hospital. And when somebody's been through that system, kind of like law enforcement, when they've been through that system a couple times, they know what to say and who to say it to be released. And that's typically what happens, and then we just deal with them again in the next day or two for the same crisis. So it kind of goes hand in hand with what we're talking about with the 988, except this would be a little bit more personal, where we could have a social worker that would look at our call sheets and be able to see what we did the night before, or the guys could call them out as a police officer. You could send them to the scene by themselves because, or if we went that route, if we went to the one I talked about yesterday where we did I have a social worker that is wanting to become a police officer. We could utilize that person as a dual role until hopefully LifeSprings gets going. But even if LifeSprings gets their mobile crisis unit going, we're not going to take any work away from them, and they're not going to take any work away from us. I mean, there's that much of a need out there for people with mental health disorders. Do you guys want to say anything?
I do, if you don't mind.
No, please.
If you listen to the radio traffic, I always listen to the radio traffic, it is constant situations where they are dealing with individuals with mental health crises, and you just hear the same people over and over again. And I think this is an opportunity that you guys have. If you truly want to make a difference for people in the community, this position is the way to do it, because there's just not resources out there. There just aren't. And just time after time dealing with these people, I know I get so many phone calls where they'll say, these are the circumstances, these are what we have. Is there anything that we can arrest them on? Because honestly, we just don't know what to do with these people anymore. If we had a social worker, it would give the ability for that person to follow up with them, to make sure that they're receiving resources. And it's kind of like she said about, they take them to the hospital and they release them and then they're on their own. So if you had this person, they could make sure they're following up. They could get in contact with the families. They could make sure these people are receiving the resources that they need. And from the same perspective, even people at court that I deal with, there will be people that will come, that will say, I just need help. We could call the social worker deputy to come up to court and talk to these people and get them connected with resources. And it would just be another person to help get people out of the criminal justice system that don't need to be in the criminal justice system. And it would free up deputies responding to calls, and it's just a myriad of benefits that I can see. That there's no downfall in my mind. It would be fantastic.
In your situation with the family, I'm just trying to think of how this works in the real world, of course, having another law enforcement officer. You get that benefit. If it's a family and my son is having a mental health crisis, but they still haven't committed a crime of any kind, the law enforcement, you still don't have any more power than you did before. You still can't do anything. You can't admit them, you can't.
But you could build a rapport with them. You could establish that relationship to maybe where they would trust you, to where that you could get them to go to get services. If the law enforcement officer meets with them one time for 30 minutes and then 2 weeks later another law enforcement meets with them, and it's just random people. It's not, you wouldn't have this constant contact and constant rapport that you could build with the person to hopefully try to get them into the services that they need.
And you have so many different personalities as law enforcement officers. So you may not you're obviously going to get two different personalities when two different people arrive, but you could get them on one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. But if you had that social worker and they dealt with them on the Tuesday and they dealt with them again on Friday, you're having that same person deal with them. And it was kind of funny. I was having a conversation over the weekend. We were at a wedding, and I told them about coming in here today about doing this for the social worker and getting into the explanation or whatever. And they said, well, it sounds completely what should happen. We don't call the police officers to do our taxes when it's tax season. So there's they're wanting us to do social work stuff without any training to be a social worker. So it's kind of it just makes sense,
And like you said, Chad, if you don't mind me, talking about that kid, instead of charging him with incorrigible or getting him in the system, the counselor, hey, there's different ways you can cope with this, giving the parents an idea, helping them out, instead of bringing them into the system, rather try to fight to keep them out of the system. And that would be with anybody. Anybody that needs help and is reaching out for help, most of the time is we can only take to the hospital if you're homicidal or suicidal. And if you don't meet those boundaries, they're just going to turn around and let you go. But with this social worker, she can keep an open line of contact. Hey, I'm having a bad day today. Can you come and talk to me? Sure, we're sending whoever and maybe another officer, talk them down, give them ways to cope. Sometimes they just want to be heard. That's all they need. They just want to be heard.
That's exactly what it is. So I do a lot of QPR training, and we're actually in QPR training with the sheriff's office. And on the training, it says that 9 out of 10 people, they just want someone that can listen. They just want to be heard. They just want to be asked questions so they can respond, and they want someone to sit there and listen to them. So I think that's a great benefit too.
Anything else from any
other questions or concerns? I think even in-house, having that counselor, officer, they would be, like Tom said, if they would have a background in law enforcement, they have that little in of why we're feeling certain things. Even with officers, hey, we just had a tragic death. Can we just go outside and just kick rocks and talk a little bit just to get that off my chest? And I think it's so worth it. You can't put a price on that. So.
Have you thought deeply enough about the position of how it would be categorized?
We did a job description
Yeah, but
several years ago.
have a different job description than another deputy.
We did one years ago for just a social worker.
But not a deputy, right?
Not the deputy portion of it. If we did kind of the mix and match, they would fall under our deputy job description.
I didn't know if they would be a different class because they're bringing something different to the table.
Yeah, I think they're where they would be positioned at. I think they would fall under the deputy classification, and that just be one of their duty assignments also.
I guess to protect the intent of what you're asking, I would see that it might be important to have it as a special kind of a position, and the reason for that is you hire Mary Smith to be the next deputy, and she's a social worker, so you're really hiring her for both of those things. Mary
Yeah.
Smith says, life's pretty good, baby, triple, I'm going out there.
Yeah.
And then you just backfill. You can't find someone with the, I would like it to be a protected, if we decide to end up going this direction at some point, that,
If we
that
do
it's that, it's
right,
that.
and I totally understand what you're saying, and that's probably where it would go. It would, if it was gonna be a dual role, we would want them utilized the most days of the week that we could, which would be more likely into the detective role, so to speak, into their realm, so that they would be available and not be on, so to speak, a call rotation all the time where, you know, if a crisis comes, they're more able, if a mental health crisis comes, they might be able to break free quicker than if they're working an accident or a domestic, domestic, they may be there, but some other type of call. So they would probably be that protected in that way as far as categorized.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to know the rotation you would have them on, because Kendra could probably speak to it better, or you guys better than me. I would assume that you're gonna get less calls on those kind of crises at noon than you would at 10 p.m.
Not really.
Not really.
You don't think so?
Really? Uh-uh.
You think it's pretty much 24 hours a day?
Yeah.
So then when
I think 10 years ago,
when
I
you put
would,
this person on,
I'm sorry.
then when does this person work?
So like Tom said, I would think it'd be more on the detectives,
So our detectives are, yeah, I mean, they obviously have their set hours, which is primarily 8 to 4. However, they know that, and that if something happens at 7 o'clock at night, they're gonna get a phone call. So you can never pick hours unless you have multiple people like this, to cover 24/7. So you just do the best you can, but I would primarily think it would be days, because I would want them to do a lot of follow-up too. You know, like, well, maybe they were off yesterday, but this happened, but they can follow up with that person today then.
a lot of your offices, like Southern Hills, or not Southern Hills, what are they called?
Life Springs.
Life Springs is open Monday through Friday, so a lot of your buildings, businesses and stuff like that are open Monday through Friday, so I think it would be only fitting for it to be Monday through Friday. But also, they understand, like Tom said, Sheriff, that they're on a call out, they understand that they can be called at any time of the day.
Again, I have limited experience in this realm, it's only my personal experience. The people that I've known, that I'm around, their mental crises generally are happening not during the workday. That just because
Well.
they have something to do,
Yeah.
but maybe if somebody's unemployed, or they're not working, or they're a kid, maybe it's different.
Like I said, 10 years ago, I would have said the same thing. It's typically at night, middle of the night. Things have changed anymore with the lack of employment. It's the unemployment, the homelessness. Most of them don't recognize Monday through Friday. It's just another day.
So like you were here 2 weeks ago and you asked for more people and I said no, and I wasn't excited about any of it. This is a different thing. So this isn't a complete no for me in any sense. I like the idea, I want to explore it for, that's where I stand. If the two of you say it's a complete no, then we can drop it and they can quit looking at it.
No, I think that's very promising. I agree. I think I want to know a little bit more, but definitely promising, kind of idea. And I see where the need would lie.
Please, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I definitely see the need. I know Kendra, kind of worked with them.
Yeah.
A little bit, so I'm familiar with it. I think it's a great idea. I support it. So that's where I stand.
This is
I do want to more towards you too, but we could also see about getting that person QPR certified as well as assist certified. Those certification courses are really good with the suicidal ideation as well as the mental health therapy field too. A lot of psychiatrists aren't actually certified in those courses, so we'd be more than happy to connect that for you guys too. But I think it's a great idea for both ends. I think it's good for the police officers. Obviously, we know police officers also have a lot of mental health things that need to be addressed, so I think that'd be really good for you guys.
further, I know we've had discussions, the three of us, about JRAC and how that operates in DuBois County and what that means. To me, it's supposed to be a place where people come together and collaborate for the betterment of the system, everything from rehabilitation to arresting people to putting people in jail. And I think that group would support this as well, because I think we had it in the grant. Was that in the grant application from earlier this year, or at least it was discussed?
Yeah, it was discussed. I know the grant that we put in for it was in 2022.
Okay.
Both of them. I think late 21 and then 22 again, Megan put in for it. And both of them, I mean, got denied for some reason. Never did.
Right, the granting agency denied it, not the.
Correct, yes, the
Right.
granting agency.
So I'm thinking I'd like to run it through there. I think we get full support as well from them. And then one thing that we could or can or should consider one way or the other is we've got opioid funds that have come in. And we will continue to get that money. And we need something that the JRAC, will say, for example, could coalesce around and say, this is a good use of this money.
I know that it was discussed at JRAC before.
I agree. I think it was too. I think now you're putting a little more behind it. You're both behind it. People from the community are behind it. I think that'd be a nice thing to do. Get that support. Find out if there's anything to better form this before we implement it. I'd like the job description to be, like I said, I want it to be protected so that we don't turn this. We get a new sheriff, and that new sheriff in the future says, I don't believe in that awful life. I just want another car on the streets. Then we don't have what we're really intending for this position.
Okay.
So, by the way, does that make sense?
It makes
I
sense.
want to make sure that we're going to
So
get.
basically, this job description should have written in the qualifications that.
Let's have a
Social
bachelor's
worker
level
has.
social worker.
I will do 2 job descriptions, one as a full-time social worker and one as a deputy social worker, deputy/social worker. And then the decision can be made at a later date, which one.
And where do you suggest they are as a categorization for the job, or if you put them with the detective or whatnot? But I think it's a good, I think this is the way things are going. I think it's, why put somebody that's having a crisis in jail or stick them in something? It's just a better way of going. So yeah, I think we're open for it. We have a little bit of work to do, but I think, you know where we stand. Thank you for your comments. Anything else today? That's it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Kendra.
Welcome, thank you.
Let's do it. I apologize for your long wait.
No sweat.
You're a busy, important person.
Oh, yeah. Good
More
morning.
busy or more important?
Yeah.
Both.
Phil Beaver with Grossman Surveying and
Good morning.
Engineering. Good morning. Here on behalf of HLS Family LP. HLS Family LP owns the highlighted piece of property that you'll see there, approximately 145 acres out on the north side of Elk Creek Road, east side of 600 West, out just north of Duff in that area. So what has happened is, so the property is owned by this LP. So we're here seeking an exemption from the parcelization process because this LP is run by 2 people who I have signatures here from, Bonnie Faye Isaac and Peggy Sue Day Villas.
You said those are the HLS Family LP representatives?
Those are the 2 the 2 general partners for that. So what they are wanting to do, so Peggy Sue DeVillas, she is one of the general partners. I would call her the grandma. So grandma wants to transfer to the granddaughter, the 3-acre piece that we have highlighted there. The problem or the situation is the way that the LP is set up, grandma cannot transfer directly to granddaughter. She has to transfer to the son first, and then the son has to transfer to the granddaughter. And if you look at the stipulations, the 3 criteria that you're certifying to when you sign the application for the parcelization, it says that the grantee on here would be
the initial occupant of the residence that is to be constructed on this piece of property. So in this case, the son is not intended to be the occupant of the residence, it's the granddaughter. So what they have to do, because of the way the LP is set up, is they have to transfer to the son first, so that the son can then transfer to the granddaughter. So technically, we are not meeting criteria C on the parcelization. So we are here to seek an exception from that criteria that the son has to be the initial occupant.
Brent, can you give me a reminder, how did, I remember we used to have the farm exception, we went to the parcelization. What could, HLS family, what could they do with this property? And let's say that there wasn't an exception. What are they allowed to do with a parcel that is 115 acres? What are they allowed to do? As far as parceling it without going through subdivision?
That's parcelization, what they can do, or they buy off 10 acres.
Columbia?
They can cut off 10 acres?
Or do a plat.
Right,
do a
so without doing a subdivision.
Yeah.
Without doing a subdivision, you either do 10 acres or you do the parcelization.
And how many parcelizations do they do?
They would get three. They're above 80, so they have 3 parcelizations.
And so the other way, if we went strictly by this, my land, I'm wanting to give it to you, we parcel it off. If you sell it to him, does that void the parcel? Because you were supposed to be the one to build on the property, you sell it to Mr. Beeler.
Not building, that's fine, that's an
The
invalid.
parcelization should be invalid. That's normally how that would work. Does that sound right to you? Seems kind of good.
Which really wouldn't happen really very often at all, other than, the bylaws or whatever you want to call it of this LP that has been established, I guess for whatever taxation purposes or whatever, just planning purposes, they don't allow to skip that generation. It has to go directly to the son, who in this case is the intended resident of the house. So somewhat of a peculiar situation.
I'm probably making more of a big deal out of this than necessary. Probably doesn't make a damn bit of difference in the scheme of things.
I mean, in the end, I think that in 18, as an aside, in just my opinion, in 18, when we went to parcelization from the family farm, I think that helped considerably. Just gave people the flexibility to sell land to the general public as opposed to, having to be
and that was our point. We don't want to control their land, and it has to be reasonable. Is this fine from a road standpoint?
No, from a road standpoint, yeah, it's fine.
And I think our other thing within our guidelines is that it can be whatever size it needs to be to have a legal septic, right? I mean, that's about, you can't put anything on it, so I don't have a problem with it. Do you have a problem with it?
I don't.
Any of the commissioners have a problem with this?
I think I pretty much understand the situation.
Yeah, I think I do too. I'm gonna refer to Greg over there.
I just, because again, the parcelization required this, I suggested Mr. Beeler could petition this board to seek an exception or an exemption, because it's kind of skipping the person that would originally be receiving the property.
If you guys were not to grant this, they would have to subdivide. They do a minor subdivision and go that route, which is that's fees to it, so.
In the long run, then if they want to cut off more pieces, they can cut off 2 more pieces similarly. Other than that, they're gonna have to plat it.
Or be 10 acres.
Or larger.
And we had that conversation at the very beginning of this where, and they decided they wanted to do that parcelization. And then it came up in talking with Greg and Brent that technically we're not meeting criteria C on here.
No, I appreciate you meeting the letter of it. So I'll move that we approve the exception request.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Is there a document that we need to sign, or will it just be in the record?
I have that. Typically that gets signed by the SRC.
That's correct.
But then the commissioners in this case would be signing.
Since there's an exception to the thing, now the commissioners will sign.
And I can complete the survey and I have a note on there reflecting that it got approved at this meeting, so.
And this is what you reviewed, Mr. Schneider, saying that it's at least legal? Okay. So, we have a first and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And Chris Hove has been involved. She reviewed the deed, so she's aware of the situation.
You need to talk to Greg.
And again, I appreciate you both letting me keep it to the letter of what's in there.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you. Toka Lake ARPA agreement extension. So I think we're all aware of what this is all about. We granted some funds to Toka Lake Regional Sewer District. They didn't get it done in the time frame they originally thought. So to my question before, can our funds not go to paying for architects and that part of the program? I mean, as I read through it, it seems like we're supporting the project, not a specific part of the project.
I think that this turned from anything related to the infrastructure project because it was ultimately a gift/grant to them, as opposed to following all the ARPA guidelines and federal requirements that had come into existence, that this was just $100,000 request to them to help, again, improve the infrastructure. I think it could go towards any portion of the project. Again, based on the letter here, they're saying that some of the things were out of their control and just needed more time. I think our understanding, Sandy, it has to be spent by the end of, is it 25?
It has to be dedicated by 24, it has committed by 24, it has to be spent by 26.
And so we've committed it already.
Right.
And they'll fall within the 2026 if we still looked at that.
I think our agreement said they had 18 months or something.
Correct. And the 18 months is what we had done with fiber build out, and I think they took out another one. They had drainage beds or drying beds, sorry, drainage beds. And then St. Anthony had one. You know, we just kind of have the, am I right on that? Am I speak?
Yes, we had a St. Anthony water tower.
We had two of them.
Yeah.
They had drying beds too.
Yeah. Took it. But anyway, so do
we pay for that one? Or?
Everything's done except this one was not.
Correct. This is the only one of the projects that's still on. And
So are you okay with us extending it? You want to keep tracking it, or should we
I mean, do you
send
have
us
to
an
do
invoice?
something with this agreement?
I prepared an addendum to give them an extension. The agreement we had basically said that 18 months is up this week. And if they weren't done, then basically they weren't going to get the money. They would obviously like to receive the money, but any changes to that agreement have to be done in writing. So I drafted that addendum, which gave them till December 31st of 2024.
I think it says to make improvements or renovate its existing sewer utility infrastructure more specifically through its installation, maintenance, and upkeep of its Du Bois sewer infrastructure. That's what's in here.
So we can pull the funds back if they don't get it complete by 4 days from now or so?
2 days.
2 days, okay. So that's a one option. We can say, well, you didn't meet the terms of it, we can use the money for something else. Sewer or whatever, or we can say we'll give them the extension, or I guess those are our options. Really. The third option, like I said, was I think they should just invoice us for something that they've already paid for the project, and we pay them and we get it done. I don't think we'll get that done in 2 days.
I don't know what they've expended thus far.
I figured it was engineering, I thought they've done some engineering, but whatever. What do you think? Just keep it, extend it?
Extend it.
Extend it.
All right, in that case, Mr. Schneider alluded, we have an addendum to the water and sewer infrastructure funding agreement. We can sign this, and I guess that gives them additional time through December 31st, 2024. So with that,
if you prefer a different date or anything else, I was just.
So if we did it this date, and they don't have it done by that date, the money is too late for us to move it to something else. If we had it a couple months before that, then we could say, doesn't look like we're gonna get it done, we're gonna reallocate.
We got a very short time to reallocate it.
It'd be wise on our part to say November 1.
Easy fix.
Yeah, because if we don't allocate it, it's going back.
So whatever it is, I think we're probably in favor of extending it. I would suggest that when we talk to them again, or whoever sends this to them, request the funds as soon as possible, be done with it. We should have it done by the
Just
end
give
of
them
the year.
another year, that'd be October.
And I'm sure they'll spend something in the next year or so. Does that make sense what I'm saying or not?
Yes, no, it makes perfect sense.
Because I don't want the money to go back to the federal government, we could use it in Du Bois County.
I agree.
So, okay, so we will, I'll move that we accept the addendum to the water and sewer infrastructure funding agreement with the sole change to be on the commencement and completion of the project. We will change the date from what's on the form of December 31st to
October 31st? Or November?
sorry, let's just do October 1st. I think that will give us plenty of time, and I think they'll have it done well before then. So, that's my motion.
I'll second.
October 1st.
Yes, October before. Okay, we have a first and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. So we have. So second copy. So what we can do is we can give Mr. Schneider the signatory page and we'll just edit the first page.
Yes. I'll make a motion to that October 1st, set that here, see the 31st.
Good, it worked out. So we're perfect. We're in sync.
You'll upload that too, because it'll be attached to the other thing. I just sent it to Marcus.
It's, when the sheriff said that crisis services aren't up and running, I guess that surprised me a little bit. I'll have to check in on that because when they spoke to us at JRAC, they said, if somebody calls this number, they are required to have somebody on the scene or to that person. I was thinking they said within 2 hours. So maybe they don't have the local staff yet. But anyway, I need to look into this. That did surprise me a little bit.
Just Thursday and Friday, we received a new grant, and I'm thinking it's got something to do with.
It has to do with this one, as a crisis response.
So, I mean, I think there might be something in that grant to help us get a social worker on staff
No, it doesn't pay for that. It pays for them, for the social workers through LifeSpring.
through Life Springs.
And we have something with the hospital too.
Well, and I think what's scary is we've got a RISE therapy community, we can't get anybody in. So we've got things in place, we just can't get therapists to help it.
I agree. Okay, let's, is there any, well, nobody left in the public, we scared them all away. Anything from either commissioner?
No, I'm good.
Craig wants to remind you guys of the Du Bois Fire Department open house is on Sunday from 11 to 3.
How did you boys, that building is open there, and open house, I think
This guy wants you to call in, he's the one who called in.
Okay, Steve, hang out afterwards, because this looks like it'll be a road question.
It is a road question, that's what he said.
So we can make the call together and help that fella out.
And then I will be rolling out the quick pass for people to be able to unlock and to change their own passwords. We'll be doing that soon.
Mr. Schneider, do you have any other business for the
Gotta
board
get them
today?
signed though, correct?
He's got them.
I don't think I do. I think I took care of it all in the miscellaneous sections of the meeting. And then this would be the last thing. So. No, sir.
Okay. Things at the sheriff's department, the old jail, things being gutted up there. We're making decisions every day on different things to make that a good project as well. So that's ongoing. If you want to put a hard hat on and walk through up there, you can. There's a lot there. They built the place to last 1,000 years. And there's a lot of concrete, a lot of steel up there.
That's good.
Building, so they put a lot of that into it. So
That was a good thing, I guess.
we're having some
you know, we always have issues with, this is the wrong lock set for this door, and this lock should have been over there, and this lock, just when you're dealing with correctional stuff, the need is different than just a home residential lock. Some of them need to stay open all the time, some of them have to lock some of the time, some have to have a lockable on one side, not the other. We got people with a lot of free time up there, they can be jail. So if there's a deficiency in your product, then find a way to work through it. So we're working on those, getting everything done. We still, I think we'll be done with the project in another 5 months, and we'll be finished. So we're looking forward to that. If you haven't been up there too, the new parking lot on the lot that we purchased looks good. One negative, it looks so wonderful on the landscaping, but we're gonna have to find ways to, we don't have an irrigation system, and there's so many damn plants, it's gonna need rain, it's gonna need some attention.
Right.
Before we had an old sad oak or a maple tree in front, now we've got a lot of nice, it looks good. It's a little bit of effort. And I think this will be my last thing, and then I'll keep that up here. So the state is on the next level connectivity thing for the broadband. They're on the fourth leg of that. I think it's the final leg. They sent all of us this a month ago. DuBois County locations that are unserved or underserved still as of this time. And I wrote to PSC and I wrote to Orange County asking, is this something you guys are taking care of? Do we need to do something with it? There was 1,000 addresses or 1,000 entries that said they were unserved or underserved. And
What's the plan?
They talked about the BEAD program last week at AIC,
what's the,
that broadband underdeveloped or whatever, people underserved.
I think there's gonna be I think the Biden administration just put billions more into this too, and the state has put more money into it. I think we're gonna be finished before that money is available. But here's I just got this from the folks at PSC. They said that the list is inaccurate. They've submitted their letter of intent to Oprah with some of the pending locations. No, they're gonna be engaged in the challenge process. Long story short, that 1,000 people on that list isn't accurate. Even if it was fully accurate, I think we've got 10,000 locations, 10,000 addresses in DuBois County or some number like that. So if only 1,000 of them were unserved, that's still 90% saturation, and I think that's still pretty broad. So a lot of these locations, we're gonna be nearly 100% saturated with people that get served, I hope by the end of the year, but, or within the next year, I think. So anyway, there's a lot of that going on.
Locates on a lot of these properties, but then it's not gonna go through for them. So, I mean, that's kind of the feedback that I've had a couple of calls with people saying, you know, they came out and surveyed everything and you know, done locates and everything else, but then whoever the person is coming around to install or whatever said that they're in the unserved, that they were not getting it. But they've come out and done all their markings and everything else, so you know, what is the plan for the unserved list that they have?
Do either of you have, do you want me to ask PSC or Orange County to come talk to us?
I reached out to Orange County and I haven't gotten anything back.
Did you write to Matt?
I talked to Brandon. That's a gentleman that I spoke to.
Well, if there's something you need me to do, let me know, but looks like people are still getting connected. At my location, I was just connected a couple months ago, so it's still in process. You were connected, what, about a year ago?
I wouldn't say quite a year.
That's why. Yeah, they're still out doing it.
Yeah, they are.
Any other business?
Nope. Anybody else?
All right, we'll close the meeting. Thank you.
All right.